Chapter 84. It's getting late. It's time to go back. Jiyu walked to Jiang Yushin and said. Hearing Jiyu's voice, Jiang Yushin was startled. Even now, she was still angry. She pouted and said, "You still know to come back. Why didn't you go back with that woman? Why should I go back with her? Jiyu didn't care. Let's go. Your mother will be worried if it's too late." As she spoke, Jiyu walked to the front. The topic was changed by Jiyu. Jiang Yushin didn't know what to say, so she followed him. After a while, they returned to the small house. Jiang Yushin stopped when they were near the door. Jiyu also stopped and said to Jiang Yushin, "Let's go in. Your father and sister should be inside." Okay, Jiang Yushin took a deep breath and strode into the small house. Jiyu didn't go in with her. Instead, he turned around and left. After all, it was someone else's family inside. He didn't need to go in. After that, Jiyu walked out of the Castellan mansion. He was going to find a place to stay. He didn't want to live under someone else's roof. Jiyu didn't lack gold coins now. He found a random hotel and rented a room for a month. He would leave Chaoyang Ancient City and go to the Chenyuan Martial House in less than a month. So he only rented a room for a month. After paying the rent, Jiyu walked into his room. He found that the environment here was good. Everything was normal. It was worth the money. Sitting on the bed, Jiyu immediately flipped open the alchemy hand seal secret manual that Yu Shuyun had given her earlier. Ding. Master has taken a look at the Cyan Light Seal, Class 2 Medium Alchemy Seal. 999 times comprehension ability has been triggered. Ding. Congratulations Master for successfully comprehending the medium grade 2 pill refinement hand seal, the Cyan Light Seal. With just one look, Jiyu mastered the Cyan Light Seal. Then, he prepared to refine a pill to test out the effects of this Cyan Light Seal. He immediately took out the pill furnace and pill refinement materials from his storage ring and began to refine the mystic gathering powder. Ding. It has been detected that Master has begun to refine the second-grade lower-class pill profound gathering powder. The success rate of refining pills has increased by 999 times. Ding. Master has performed the Grade 2 Medium Alchemy Hand Seal, Grade 2 Medium Alchemy Hand Seal, Grade 2 Medium Alchemy Hand Seal, experience gained, 300 by 999 times. While concocting the pills, Jiyu displayed the Cyan Light Seal, and a faint cyan light appeared in his hand. About 10 minutes later. Ding. Master has successfully refined an inferior Grade 2 medicinal pill, profound gathering powder. Experience gained in alchemy attainment, 200 by 999 times. It only took him 10 minutes to refine a second-grade lower-class pill. Jiyu was instantly overjoyed. It had to be known that before this, he had to spend around 20 to 30 minutes to successfully refine a single profound gathering powder. Compared to before, his pill refinement efficiency had at least doubled, and this was all thanks to the Cyan Light Seal. It could be seen that this Grade 2 Medium Alchemy Hand Seal was very powerful. Moreover, he had yet to raise the level of the Cyan Light Seal. If he could raise it to the final level of greater perfection, wouldn't that be awesome? Thinking of this, Jiyu immediately began to practice the Cyan Light Seal. Ding. Master took a look at the Grade 2 Middle Grade Alchemy Hand Seal, Cyan Light Seal. Grade 2 Middle Grade Alchemy Hand Seal, Cyan Light Seal. Ding. Master has taken a look at the Grade 2 Medium Alchemy Hand Seal, Cyan Light Seal, Grade 2 Medium Alchemy Hand Seal, experience gained, 1 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations Master, the Grade 2 Medium Alchemy Hand Seal, Cyan Light Seal, has successfully broken through to the minor accomplishment level. After a long time, Jiyu finally raised the level of the Cyan Light Seal to the minor accomplishment level. After all, it's too slow to raise the level by only reading the secret book to gain experience. It's faster to directly use the Cyan Light Seal to gain experience. Jiyu secretly thought in his heart. However, the alchemy hand seal must be used when refining pills, otherwise it would be meaningless. But currently, he didn't have any alchemy materials on him, so he had to buy some alchemy materials back. In addition, although he still had a few hundred gold coins on him, which was definitely enough for his daily expenses, these few hundred gold coins were too little to buy alchemy materials. Therefore, Jiyu now had to go to the Demon Beast mountain range to hunt demon beasts to earn gold coins. That boss Chen Yang is not completely dead yet. He will definitely come back soon. Now that I've rested enough, I've rested enough. Chapter 85. Apart from Chen Yang, he still held a grudge against the head of the Lin family, Lin Zhanshan. However, Lin Zhanshan was a Tongxian realm expert, and he couldn't fight against him in a short period of time. Jiyu planned to head to the inner region of the Demon Beast mountain range. Although his cultivation was still at the peak of the second layer of the defensive profound realm, and even with the low-grade mountain rank fist technique, the mountain shaking fist, he wouldn't be able to fight against demonic beasts above the fourth layer of the second grade. However, apart from the mountain shaking fist, he also had a low-grade mountain rank technique, the 1000 illusory flash. Even if he couldn't beat them, he could still escape. The inner region of the Demon Beast mountain range was divided into many small regions, and each small region had a different level of danger. For example, the small regions with lower levels of danger gathered demonic beasts from the first layer of the second grade to the second layer of the second grade, while the small regions with higher levels of danger gathered demonic beasts from the 9th layer of the second grade. As long as Jiyu hunted demonic beasts in the small regions with lower levels of danger, there wouldn't be any problems. As for tonight, Jiyu planned to break through to the third layer of the defensive profound realm. First, he casually threw the profound gathering powder that he had just refined into his mouth. Ding! Master has consumed a low-grade second-grade pill, the profound gathering powder. Martial cultivation experience gained, 5000*999x. After that, Jiyu sat on the bed and calmed his heart, entering into a state of cultivation. Ding! Congratulations, Master, your martial cultivation has successfully broken through to the early stage of the third layer of the defensive profound realm. An unknown amount of time passed, and it was late at night. Jiyu's martial cultivation had finally broken through to the third layer of the defensive profound realm. However, he forgot to suppress his aura, and the sound of his breakthrough immediately alarmed the entire hotel, and even the people who lived near the hotel were affected. At this time, most people were sleeping. It was inevitable that they would be very unhappy to be suddenly awakened. However, when they realized that someone was breaking through to the defensive profound realm, they all acted as if nothing had happened. After all, they couldn't afford to provoke a defensive profound realm expert. The next morning, Jiyu put on a black robe as usual and went downstairs to eat breakfast. He casually found a place to sit down and ordered some food. However, at this moment, 3 burly men appeared beside him with unfriendly expressions. It was probably because the restaurant was full of people, and Jiyu had a 4-seater seat all to herself. However, Jiyu couldn't be bothered to pay attention to the 3 of them. She didn't even look at them. "Kid, us 3 brothers want this seat." The bearded man who was the leader said arrogantly, "If you know what's good for you, then get the hell out of my way." "Yo, I didn't notice earlier. You brat, you're imitating the genius Jiyu? Wearing a black robe? I've seen a lot of guys like that on the road. Young people nowadays are really sick. They imitate everything and aren't afraid of being laughed at." Ha ha ha. The other 2 big men pointed at Jiyu and laughed loudly. Another young man who admires the genius Jiyu and imitates her. In the past 2 days, there have been a lot of people imitating Jiyu wearing black robes. Who asked Jiyu to be so strong? Even Chen Yang, who has awakened his acquired spiritual body, could only be hung up and beaten. This young man is really pitiful. He met 3 unreasonable guys. Many people's attention was attracted by the 3 big men's mocking laughter, and they all started to talk about it. However, Jiyu didn't panic at all. Instead, she wanted to laugh. Imitating myself? These 3 big men also made Jiyu laugh. After waiting for a while and seeing that the other party didn't move at all, the bearded man who was the leader said with an unfriendly expression, "Hey, kid, are you deaf? Didn't you hear me tell you to get lost? Did you hear me? Hurry up and get lost. The 3 of us are tired of standing. If you don't get lost, don't blame us for being rude." The other 2 big men also threatened. At this moment, Ji-yu silently took off the black robe on her head and said coldly, "What a joke." The moment she took off the black robe, silence. Incomparable silence. Everyone around was dumbfounded. They recognized that the young man in front of them was Ji-yu. Chapter 86. Especially those three burly men, they were completely dumbfounded. Before this, they would never have thought that this black-robed man in front of them was Ji-yu himself. No matter who it was, they would never have thought that the number one genius who had surpassed the acquired spirit body, Chen Yang, would actually be eating breakfast in this small tea house. The leader, the bearded burly man, was the first to react, and his attitude immediately changed drastically. Ji Gongzi, we were just joking. We hope that young master will not take it to heart. When he was speaking, not only was his body retreating backwards, his legs were also trembling non-stop. The other two burly men also gradually regained their senses and sincerely apologized. That's right. We were just joking. Joking? Ji-yu's expression was cold and indifferent. Are you guys treating me like a fool? No. The two burly men's faces were filled with fear as they hurriedly shook their heads. Seeing that the situation was extremely bad, the bearded burly man immediately broke into a run, not caring about the life or death of his two brothers. Want to escape? Ji-yu used his leg to kick and directly sent the table in front of him flying. Ding! Master kicked, low yellow rank profound skill gale kick, obtained experience points, won by 999 times. The table flew at an extremely fast speed towards the bearded burly man. That bearded burly man was completely unable to dodge and was directly smashed by the table until his head was bleeding. The bearded burly man was unable to escape and fell to the ground unconscious. When the other two burly men saw this frightening scene, they were so frightened that their legs went soft. They directly knelt on the ground and repeatedly kowtowed to Ji-yu, begging for mercy. The two of you, slap yourselves 100 times and make a loud sound. Otherwise, you will end up like him. Ji-yu's gaze fell on the two men who were kneeling and begging for mercy as he coldly said. They were just two pieces of trash who had not even reached the defensive profound realm. He was too lazy to dirty his hands. Yes. In order to preserve their lives, the two burly men immediately did as they were told. Slap. They all followed Ji-yu's instructions and slapped themselves with their hands. Moreover, they slapped themselves very loudly. In the face of death, they no longer cared about pain or even their dignity. Pa. Just like that, the two of them kept slapping themselves. Every slap was forceful. They were afraid that the sound they made would not satisfy Ji-yu. Hiss! Seeing the three burly men being taken care of by Ji-yu in the blink of an eye, the surrounding people couldn't help but suck in a cold breath. The sound of the slaps made their hearts beat faster and faster, making them feel uneasy. This was because most of them had been talking about Ji-yu before. Although they weren't as direct as the three burly men, they were still a little afraid. Only a very small number of people rejoiced that they had not said a single word from beginning to end and had not provoked that terrifyingly powerful genius youth. Pa. After an unknown amount of time, the resounding slaps finally stopped. At this moment, the two burly men's faces were already swollen to the point where they looked even uglier than a pig's head. Ji-yu didn't carefully count if the two of them had slapped themselves 100 times. He only knew that it was about enough. However, even if he didn't count, he knew that the two of them wouldn't dare to slack off. At this moment, the waiter trembled as he brought 2 dishes over. Just nice. This 1 gold coin is the compensation for that table. Seeing the waiter come over, Ji-yu immediately took out a gold coin and threw it to the waiter. The waiter immediately panicked and almost didn't catch the gold coin. He was extremely terrified. I don't dare. Just accept it when I tell you to. Also, get me a table. Ji-yu said indifferently. Yes. The waiter nodded repeatedly and hurriedly ran to help Ji-yu get a table. After eating breakfast, Ji-yu indifferently left under the gazes of the surrounding people. As for the unconscious bearded man, he left him to the boss. Relying on the low-level profound rank movement technique 1000 Mirage Flash, Ji-yu arrived at the Demon Beast mountain range not long after. After entering the Demon Beast mountain range, he directly went deep into the central area. Along the way, he encountered many demonic beasts, but they were all easily dealt with by him. Ding. Master has used the low-level profound rank profound skill mountain shaking fist. The experience gained from the low-level profound rank profound skill mountain shaking fist is 200 by 999 times. Ding. Master has used the low-level profound rank profound skill mountain shaking fist. The experience gained from the low-level profound rank profound skill mountain shaking fist is 200 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. The low-level profound rank profound skill mountain shaking fist has successfully broken through to their initial success realm. Along the way, no matter what demonic beasts they encountered, they were all dealt with by Jiyu with one punch. After all, the outer area was filled with weak first-grade demonic beasts. At the same time, his mountain shaking fist had also been upgraded to their initial success realm. Soon, Jiyu entered the inner area. The moment he entered the inner area, he could feel that the surrounding demonic aura had become much denser. If it was an ordinary person here, they would probably be corroded by the demonic aura and go crazy. Fortunately, Jiyu's cultivation was high enough, so the demonic aura did not affect him much. Ding. Master has been corroded by demonic aura. The experience gained from the basic spiritual power is 1 by 999 times. At this moment, Jiyu suddenly heard a new notification from the system. Chapter 87. Jiyu was a little confused. How could he strengthen his spiritual power like this? Everyone was born with spiritual power, and it could be improved along with the cultivation of martial arts. If one's spiritual power reached a certain level, it could even be transformed into a spiritual attack, killing people invisibly. Jiyu was very happy that he could strengthen his spiritual power in the middle area of the Demon Beast mountain range. Ding. Master has been eroded by demonic aura, basic spiritual power experience gained, 1 by 999 times. Ding. Master has been eroded by demonic aura, basic spiritual power experience gained, 1 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Basic spiritual power has successfully broken through to the initial level. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Basic spiritual power has successfully broken through to the advanced level. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Basic spiritual power has successfully broken through to the perfect level. Ding. Basic spiritual power has been detected to have reached the perfect level, automatically upgraded to bronze level spiritual power. After wandering around the middle area for a while, Jiyu's spiritual power was upgraded to bronze level. As far as he knew, spiritual power was divided into 4 levels, from low to high, bronze level, silver level, gold level, and platinum level. He had no way of knowing if there were any higher levels after that. Once his spiritual power was strengthened to bronze level, the surrounding demonic aura had almost no effect on Jiyu. At this time, Jiyu was no longer wandering around aimlessly. In fact, he went deep into the middle area of the Demon Beast mountain range not only to kill demonic beasts to earn gold coins, but also to search for some materials. In his mind, he remembered the materials needed to refine the 7 profound spirit purifying pill. The 7 profound spirit purifying pill was a superior 3rd-grade elixir, and the materials needed were very rare. Even in the Chaoyang branch, not all the materials were available. For example, most of the materials needed to refine the 7 profound spirit purifying pill could not be found in the Chaoyang branch, but some of them could be found in the middle area of the Demon Beast mountain range. Jiyu also planned to find some strong 2nd-grade demonic beasts to practice with. It had been so long since he had broken through to the defensive profound realm, but he had never fought to his heart's content. Now that all the geniuses of the same generation in the ancient city of Morning Sun were no match for him, he could only come here to find powerful demonic beasts to practice his skills. Just as Jiyu was about to take out the map to find the location, an extremely dense yarrow chi suddenly approached from a distance. He suddenly frowned. This demonic chi was not simple. It was not much weaker than the red-striped python he had encountered before. Obviously, he was being targeted by a tough guy. After a while, a ferocious-looking giant grizzly bear appeared in front of him. This grizzly bear was more than twice as tall as Ji-yu. Its body was like a small mountain, and its eyes were flashing with scarlet light. The grizzly bear in front of him reminded him of the brute force black bear that he encountered when he first met Jiang Yushan. Compared to this grizzly bear in front of him, that black bear was simply a small dot. If Ji-yu was not mistaken, this grizzly bear should be a second-grade demonic beast, the ferocious bear, which was relatively rare in the demonic beast mountain range. The ferocious bear, as its name suggested, was extremely violent and liked to cruelly torture the weak. Judging from the demonic chi it emitted, Ji-yu felt that the ferocious bear in front of him should be at the third grade of the second grade, which was not much different from his third grade of the defensive profound realm cultivation. However, the ferocious bear's strength was extremely terrifying. It was an extremely troublesome existence for Ji-yu. However, Ji-yu did not plan to run away. He smiled at the ferocious bear and said, "I'll use you to practice." The ferocious bear seemed to understand Ji-yu's words. With a roar, it charged towards Ji-yu. Ding! Master has used the low-grade mystic skill 1000 Mirage Flash. Experience gained from the low-grade mystic skill 1000 Mirage Flash, 200 by 999 times. Ji-yu's figure flashed and disappeared from the spot in an instant, perfectly dodging the ferocious bear's fierce charge. Bang! With a violent muffled sound, a large tree was directly knocked down by the ferocious bear. Chapter 88. Seeing this shocking scene, Ji-yu couldn't help but click his tongue a few times. If he were to be hit by this, his bones would probably fall apart. At the same time, he confirmed that the violent wild bear in front of him was indeed at the third stage of the second stage. It was a very suitable target for practice. However, practice was practice. If he wanted to win against this violent wild bear, the difficulty was not ordinary. This was because demonic beasts were much stronger than human cultivators in terms of strength and toughness of their flesh. At the same level, human cultivators were usually at a disadvantage. Realizing that it didn't hit its target, the violent wild bear became even more furious. It charged towards Ji-yu again and used its huge bear paw to slap Ji-yu's head. Ji-yu instantly used 1000 Mirage Flash and easily dodged the violent wild bear's attack again. However, this time, he didn't dodge far away. His figure flashed to the side of the violent wild bear, and he condensed profound chi on his fist and smashed it towards the weakest part of the violent wild bear's body, which was its waist. Ding! Master has used the low-level profound rank profound skill mountain shaking fist. The experience gained from the low-level profound rank profound skill mountain shaking fist, 200 by 999 times, Ji-yu used all the strength in his body and fiercely smashed towards the violent wild bear's waist. Bam! It could be seen that the violent wild bear's thick waist, under this mountain-shaking fist, fiercely shook its thick skin and flesh. It was obvious that this punch had caused effective damage to the violent wild bear. However, Ji-yu couldn't help but sigh. This violent wild bear's skin was really thick. This was because he was very clear that his mountain-shaking fist had at most caused a small injury to the violent wild bear's waist. It was completely impossible to rely on this punch to gain the upper hand. Therefore, Ji-yu didn't dare to let his guard down. In the short moment before the violent wild bear could react, he added another punch. The violent wild bear felt the pain from its waist and furiously turned around to slap Ji-yu. Ji-yu's eyes were sharp and her hands were fast. She once again used 1000 Phantom Flash to dodge, and took the opportunity to give the violent wild bear another punch. Ji-yu had tried and tested this method of playing with the violent wild bear. He was faster than the violent wild bear in all aspects. It was impossible for the violent wild bear to touch him. It could only passively take a beating. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The low profound rank profound skill mountain shaking fist has successfully broken through to the mastery level. After repeating it countless times, Ji-yu's mountain shaking fist had been strengthened to the mastery level. Gradually, Ji-yu felt that something was wrong. Although this violent wild bear would soon be exhausted to death if this continued, there was no point in continuing like this. He suddenly appeared in front of the violent wild bear and said with a playful expression, "Beast, come again." The violent wild bear, which was already exhausted and covered in wounds, went berserk again when it saw the cunning human in front of it. It once again slapped down with its palm, wanting to tear the human in front of it apart. However, this time, Jiyu did not dodge and directly faced the violent wild bear head-on. Ding! Master has used the low profound rank profound skill mountain shaking fist. Low profound rank profound skill mountain shaking fist obtained experience points, 200 by 999 times. Ding! Master's body has been injured. Low yellow rank profound skill thick earth armor obtained experience points, 1 by 999 times. Even though the violent wild bear was not in a good state, its strength was still frightening. Jiyu was at a disadvantage under the violent wild bear's attack. He took a few steps back before stabilizing his body. However, not only was he not the slightest bit timid, he became more and more courageous as he fought. Without the slightest bit of dodging, he completely relied on his flesh and blood to clash head-on with the violent wild bear. At the same time, within 10 miles of Jiyu's location, a few young men and women were slowly moving forward. They wore the same clothes and seemed to be from the same faction. Among them, a young woman was the most eye-catching. Her skin was whiter than snow, and her eyes were like a pool of clear water. When she looked around, she had an elegant and noble temperament. There was a light veil on her face, which added a trace of mysterious beauty to her. It made people feel ashamed of their inferiority and did not dare to blaspheme. Chapter 89. Miss, we are about to enter the middle area of the Monster Beast mountain range. At this time, a well-built man who looked older and calmer walked to the side of the stunning woman and said in a low voice. The woman nodded slightly and didn't mean to stop. In addition, there were 2 young men behind. Their eyes secretly glanced at the veiled woman from time to time, and their eyes flashed with imperceptible admiration. The team of 4 continued to move forward. Suddenly, at this moment, the calm man stopped and said in a deep voice, "Wait. What's wrong?" The 2 young men asked in bewilderment. The veiled woman frowned slightly and raised her head slightly to look into the distance. She seemed to have noticed something. There seems to be 2 powerful monsters fighting fiercely in front of us. The calm man said with a dignified look. In his opinion, this kind of momentum could only be caused by 2 powerful monsters fighting each other. Let's move forward. At this time, the veiled woman finally opened her mouth, and a cold and ethereal voice came. But the calm man was about to say something to dissuade her, but he gave up after thinking about it. He guarded the veiled woman's side, always vigilant to see if there would be any monsters around them. The other 2 young men followed tremblingly, not daring to make the slightest sound. However, they kept walking and didn't encounter a single monster. The excited momentum also became louder and louder as they approached. Obviously, it was because of this fierce battle that the nearby monsters hid. Finally, the team of 4 was about to reach the place where the monsters were fighting. The next moment, the veiled woman's beautiful eyes shrank, the calm man was shocked, and the 2 young men were dumbfounded. In front of them, there was a young man in a black robe fighting with a monster, and it was a violent wild bear. The black-robed young man punched and smashed with the violent wild bear, which brought great shock to their eyes. Although the human youth was a bit at a disadvantage, it was still extremely terrifying. The calm man couldn't believe that the scene in front of him was real. There was a human who could fight head-on with the violent wild bear with his body, and it seemed that he was doing it with ease. The calm man looked back and found that the 2 young men were already stunned. He then whispered to the veiled woman, "Miss, should we go up and help?" The veiled woman shook her head slightly and stared at the black-robed young man. "Wait." The calm man nodded and hid in the jungle quietly watching. Jiyu's mountain-shaking fist had already reached the pinnacle of mastery when she clashed with the violent wild bear. Not only that, his low yellow rank defensive mystic skill thick earth armor was also continuously increasing by 999 times. At the same time, it had also broken through to the realm of mastery. After that, Jiyu gradually turned the tables around. This was because his fist technique was constantly being strengthened, and he could take pills to recover his profound chi at any time, which was equivalent to a perpetual motion machine. On the other hand, the violent wild bear's stamina was depleting very quickly. By now, it was truly exhausted. In the end, The situation had turned into a one-sided suppression by Gu. The violent wild bear's stamina was already exhausted, and it had no room to fight back. Not long after, the violent wild bear was already on the verge of death. Phew! Gu heaved a sigh of relief. This was the first time he had fought so well. All right, you can die now. Gu looked at the dying violent wild bear in front of him and said with a faint smile. Then, with a punch, the violent wild bear was completely dead. Chapter 90. At this moment, the calm man and the two young men who were hiding in the woods not far away were completely stunned. Is he still King human? This is simply an incomparably powerful humanoid beast. With just the strength of his bare hands, he killed a ferocious bear, and there were not many injuries on his body. This young man is too terrifying. The veiled woman's eyes flickered, and she was thoughtful. Gu didn't notice that there were people hiding nearby, and he was cutting the body of the ferocious bear. After cutting off the most valuable parts of the ferocious bear's body and putting them into the storage ring, he was ready to leave. However, just as he walked a few steps, he suddenly found a purple leaf under a stone at his feet. Gu then crouched down and flipped open the rock. Underneath the rock, she dug out a stalk of spirit grass with two purple leaves. This is the twin purple spirit grass? Gu couldn't help but exclaim in a low voice. The twin purple spirit grass was an extremely precious and rare spirit grass that generally only grew under stones. Although it was pressed by stones all year round, the vitality of this spirit grass was extremely tenacious and could continue to grow under stones. The most important thing was that the twin purple spirit grass was one of the main materials needed to refine the 7 profound spirit clearing pill. To be able to find this twin purple spirit grass by chance, Gu's luck could be said to be extremely good this time. But just as he was about to put this twin purple spirit grass into the storage ring and leave, suddenly an ethereal and cold voice came from not far behind him. Wait a minute. Gu turned around and saw a slender figure appear in the forest not far away at some point in time. Soon after, 3 more men appeared. Gu looked at the 4 people and said with narrowed eyes, "What do you want?" Our young lady came to the monster mountain range from thousands of miles away to find the twin purple spirit grass. I wonder if young hero can use the twin purple spirit grass in your hand to exchange with us? The calm man immediately said respectfully. He just saw the black-robed young man, so he didn't dare to be disrespectful. No. Gu didn't even think about it and directly rejected him. He was going to use this twin purple spirit grass to refine the 7 profound spirit clearing pill. If he exchanged with someone else this time, it would be even more difficult to find a second twin purple spirit grass in the future. Therefore, no matter how much the other party was willing to pay, he did not intend to trade. At this moment, the beautiful figure of the veiled woman flashed and arrived less than 10 meters away from Gu. Miss. The steady man was worried about the young miss facing the fierce young man alone, so he immediately chased after her. On the other hand, the other 2 youths didn't move at all. They were afraid that the black-robed youth would tear them apart with his bare hands in a moment of displeasure. How could they dare to approach the black-robed youth? I can give you satisfactory conditions. The veiled woman said coldly. I don't need it. Goodbye. Gu was already feeling a little impatient. She directly used her movement technique to leave. Although the woman in front of him was very beautiful and mysterious, it was far from enough to shake his heart. After all, it was not like he had never seen a beautiful woman before. Seeing the black-robed youth disappear in an instant, the steady man breathed a sigh of relief. He was also worried that the black-robed youth would suddenly attack. With the young man's strength that could fight with the violent wild bear, he was no match for the young man at all. The most important thing was that the young miss was safe. The veiled woman stared at the direction where the black-robed youth disappeared. There was a trace of excitement in the depths of her beautiful eyes, as if she was waiting for something exciting to happen. Chapter 91. Ding. Master has used the low profound rank profound skill 1000 illusory flash. Experience gained from the low profound rank profound skill 1000 illusory flash, 200 by 999 times. Ding. Master has used the low profound rank profound skill mountain shaking fist. Experience gained from the low profound rank profound skill mountain shaking fist, 200 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations master, the low profound rank profound skill 1000 illusory flash has successfully broken through to the peak of perfection realm. Ding. Congratulations master, the low profound rank profound skill mountain shaking fist has successfully broken through to the peak of perfection realm. Ding. It has been detected that the low profound rank profound skill 1000 illusory flash has reached the perfection stage and has automatically upgraded to the middle profound rank profound skill myriad flash. Ding. It has been detected that the low profound rank profound skill mountain shaking fist has reached the perfection stage and has automatically upgraded to the middle profound rank profound skill fist suppressing all directions. After an unknown amount of time, Jiyu had also forgotten how many demonic beasts he had killed. Only when his storage ring was completely stuffed did he stop hunting demonic beasts. In the process of hunting demonic beasts, his fist technique and movement technique had already leveled up to the middle profound rank profound skill. In addition to these, he had also obtained some rare heavenly materials and earthly treasures. After this trip, Jiyu had obtained a full pot of gold. Since the storage ring could no longer hold anything, it was time for him to return. Ding. Master has used the middle profound rank profound skill 10,000 incarnations. Experience gained from the middle profound rank profound skill 10,000 incarnations, 300 by 999 times. Ding. Master has used the middle profound rank profound skill 10,000 incarnations. Experience gained from the middle profound rank profound skill 10,000 incarnations, 300 by 999 times. Using the newly obtained middle profound rank movement technique, Jiyu returned to Chaoyang Ancient City in a short while. After selling a large pile of demonic beasts materials, he used gold coins to buy a large amount of alchemy materials. When the bystanders saw so many demonic beasts materials, they were already used to it. After all, the person standing in front of them was the undisputed number one genius of the martial Tao. Who would dare to doubt the strength of a super genius who could crush an acquired spiritual body with 3 punches? After buying the materials, Jiyu returned to her residence. Once she was back, she immediately began to refine pills to improve her alchemy skills. Ding. It has been detected that Master has begun to refine grade 2 pills. The success rate of refining pills has increased by 999 times. 10 minutes later, Jiyu successfully refined an inferior grade 2 pill. Ding. Master has successfully refined an inferior second grade medicinal pill. Experience gained from alchemy attainment, 200 by 999 times. Ding. It has been detected that Master has finished concocting the second grade pill. The success rate of concocting pills has returned to its original state. However, just as Jiyu finished refining the first pill, someone suddenly knocked on the door from the outside. Dong dong dong, who? Jiyu asked. It's me. A familiar voice came from outside the door. When Jiyu heard it, he felt that it was Jiang Yuechu's voice. He immediately walked over and opened the door. As expected, Jiang Yuechu came into view. How did you find this place? Jiyu asked in surprise. With the means of the City Lord Mansion, it was not strange that Jiang Yuechu, as the eldest daughter of the City Lord Mansion, knew that he was here. But shouldn't Jiang Yushin come to find him? After all, he was more familiar with Jiang Yushin. He only knew Jiang Yuechu slightly. Young master, don't you welcome Yuechu to visit? Jiang Yuechu said with a slight sadness. Stop acting. Just say what you want to say. Jiyu saw through Jiang Yuechu's act and exposed Jiang Yuechu without hesitation. As expected of young master, your awareness is really sharp. Jiang Yuechu praised. At the same time, she silently said in her heart, it's a pity that you are so slow in some aspects. So, why did you suddenly come to find me? Jiyu asked straightforwardly. After all, he was not familiar with Jiang Yuechu. In his opinion, Jiang Yuechu suddenly came to find him for something. There is indeed something, and it is a very important thing. Jiang Yuechu stared solemnly into Jiyu's eyes and said, please become my Dao companion. Chapter 92. Jiyu was shocked by Jiang Yuechu's words. His entire body froze. After a while, he finally reacted and asked in shock, "What did you say?" "Please become my Dao companion," Qin Wentian said. Jiang Yuchu repeated with a determined look in her eyes. "Wait, let me calm down a bit." Ji Yu still hadn't regained his composure. He wanted to calm down and think about it. After a while, he finally calmed down. But no matter how he thought about it, he couldn't understand. He hadn't interacted with her that much, so why did she suddenly? In the next moment, Ji Yu's pupils suddenly constricted as if he thought of something. He almost forgot that Jiang Yuchu liked to act, even though she wasn't very good at it. With that thought, Ji Yu carefully observed Jiang Yuchu. He realized that Jiang Yuchu had a serious look on her face from beginning to end, as if she was trying to achieve some kind of goal. "Of course, not," Ji Yu replied. No matter what Jiang Yuechu's goal was, there was no need for him to accept her. Although Jiang Yuchu was a little beauty, he wasn't the kind of person who would reject anyone. At least, before he completely dealt with Chen Yang and Lin Zhanshan, Ji Yu didn't want to think about romantic relationships. "Why?" Jiang Yuchu was slightly surprised. "Is it because I'm not pretty enough?" She thought that Ji Yu would gladly accept, but she didn't expect to be directly rejected. "It has nothing to do with whether you're pretty or not." Ji Yu shook his head and said, "Besides, you're already very pretty." Is that so?" Jiang Yuchu couldn't help but feel a trace of joy in her heart. "Of course, I don't need to lie to you." Ji Yu nodded honestly. He was indeed speaking the truth. If anyone said that Jiang Yuchu wasn't pretty, they were either lying or had extremely high standards. Cough. Jiang Yuchu coughed lightly and regained her composure. "Even if you don't accept it, I won't give up." "Up to you. This is your choice," Ji Yu said, "but then again, this time, you deliberately came to find me and wanted to become my Dao companion. It should be because of some unspeakable secret, right?" "No." Jiang Yuchu shook her head, but her slightly averted eyes betrayed her. Ji Yu keenly captured this point and confirmed that Jiang Yuchu indeed had ulterior motives. As expected, this fellow, Jiang Yuchu, was still the same as before. Previously, in order to prevent Manor Head Jiang from blaming Jiang Yushin, she had deliberately distanced herself from Jiang Yushin. She was an old actress. "No matter what your intentions are, I won't easily accept someone I'm not familiar with." Ji Yu smiled and said, "Of course, if you can make me infatuated with you, then you can try." "I'll do it." Jiang Yuchu nodded with a serious expression. I understand." "Then, goodbye." With that said, Ji Yu was about to close the door. "Wait." However, before he could close the door, Jiang Yuchu pulled on the door. "Is there anything else?" Ji Yu asked. "If I want you to be infatuated with me, then I naturally have to stay with you." Jiang Yuechu's tone was reasonable and convincing. "Ah, Rui Di?" Ji Yu's mouth twitched, and he couldn't help but speak in bird language. "What did you say?" Jiang Yuchu was stunned and didn't understand what Ji Yu was saying. "Nothing." Ji Yu said somewhat awkwardly, "I'm saying, are you sure?" "I'm sure," Jiang Yuchu said with a solemn expression. "All right, then you can do whatever you want." Ji Yu couldn't be bothered to care so much, so he just let Jiang Yuchu do whatever she wanted. "I'm going to continue refining pills first. Remember to close the door behind you when you're going in or out," Ji Yu said casually, then went back to continue refining pills. Chapter 93. Ding. It has been detected that the master has begun to refine the inferior second-grade medicinal pill Profound Gathering Powder, and the success rate of alchemy has increased by 999 times. Seeing that Ji Yu was refining the medicinal pill, Jiang Yuchu couldn't help but feel surprised. Because this was the first time that Jiang Yuchu saw Ji Yu refining medicinal pills. "Are you an alchemist?" Jiang Yuchu couldn't help but ask. Ji Yu replied while refining the medicinal pill. He was now refining a kind of inferior second-grade medicinal pill, which was very easy for him and could be easily distracted. In that case, Jiang Yuechu's eyes suddenly flashed, as if she thought of something, and then asked, "The medicinal pill that was given to my mother last time was also personally refined by you?" Before that, she didn't know that Ji Yu was also an alchemist. In addition, She was too excited at that time, so she forgot to ask her mother about these things in detail. She originally thought that those medicinal pills were obtained by Jiyu from others. She never thought that Jiyu would personally refine them. Exactly. Jiyu nodded in response. Jiang Yuchu was so excited that she didn't know what to say. A few minutes later, Jiyu refined the second medicinal pill. Ding! Master has refined an inferior second-grade medicinal pill profound gathering powder. Alchemy attainments gained experience points, 200 by 999 times. Seeing Jiyu take out a medicinal pill from the alchemy furnace, Jiang Yuchu was stunned for a moment and almost blurted out, "This is the profound gathering powder?" "That's right. You can recognize this pill." Jiyu nodded. "I used it for cultivation, so I have some impression of it," Jiang Yuchu said. Now she didn't have the slightest doubt in her heart. She was sure that Jiyu personally refined the medicinal pill to save her mother. At the same time, she was also very surprised. Although she didn't have much contact with alchemy, the profound gathering powder was a kind of inferior second-grade medicinal pill. It was really shocking that Jiyu could refine it so easily and quickly. Next, Jiyu didn't rush to take this profound gathering powder, but continued to refine medicinal pills. When all the materials were refined, he took all the medicinal pills at once. Ding! Master has refined an intermediate second-grade medicinal pill. Alchemy attainments gained experience points, 300 by 999 times. Ding! Master has concocted an inferior second-grade medicinal pill. Experience gained from alchemy attainment, 200 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. You have successfully broken through to become an inferior third-grade alchemist. After more than half a day, Jiyu finally finished refining all the materials and barely promoted to an inferior third-grade alchemist. He refined some inferior second-grade and intermediate second-grade medicinal pills, because these medicinal pills were more convenient for him to refine. Compared to the superior second-grade medicinal pills, it was much faster. After refining all the medicinal pills, Jiyu glanced at Jiang Yuchu next to him and suddenly felt quite speechless. From the beginning until now, Jiang Yuchu had been sitting next to him and looking at him, as if she didn't feel bored or tired at all. He had to admire this guy's perseverance. If it were him, he couldn't sit and watch others refine medicinal pills for more than half a day, because it was too boring. "Aren't you going back?" Jiyu asked. "I won't go back before you fall in love with me," Jiang Yuchu said with an unwavering gaze. "Okay, then continue to work hard," Jiyu said with a helpless expression. He regretted saying "make me fall in love with you" before. Not only did he not persuade the other party to leave, but it also had the opposite effect. Gurgle gurgle. However, at this moment, a gurgling sound was suddenly heard. Jiyu looked in the direction of the rumbling sound in confusion. Jiang Yuchu covered her stomach with both hands, and a trace of shyness appeared on her fair face. "Indeed, it's getting late. I'll take you out for a meal," Jiyu said with a smile. "Okay," Jiang Yuchu nodded with a slightly bashful expression. However, she suddenly thought of something and said in a serious voice, "Wait, I'll cook it myself." Chapter 94. Do you want to cook by yourself? Jiyu asked with some surprise. Yes, Mother said that if you want to capture a man's heart, you have to capture a man's stomach. Jiang Yuchu nodded and said with a serious look. Your mother is really... Jiyu didn't know what to say for a while. Thousands of words turned into one word, awesome. Where is the kitchen here? Jiang Yuchu immediately got up and looked around the room. Come with me. With that, Jiyu walked to the kitchen of this room. It's not that this room doesn't have a kitchen, it's just that he was too lazy to cook by himself. He prefers to eat directly in a restaurant. But at this moment, he suddenly remembered that he didn't prepare any ingredients here at all. He immediately said to Jiang Yuchu behind him, "It's fine if you want to try to cook by yourself, but I don't have any ingredients here. Why don't you go with me to buy them?" Okay. Jiang Yuchu nodded blankly. Then let's go. With that, Jiyu walked toward the door, and Jiang Yuchu immediately followed him. Later, Jiyu took Jiang Yuchu to the market that sells food. Many people can be seen setting up stalls in this market. This is the market. Looking at everything around her, Jiang Yuchu felt a little inconceivable. This place was far poorer and more shabby than she had imagined. As the eldest daughter of the city lord's mansion, Jiang Yuchu has always been in charge of food matters. Moreover, she usually focuses on martial arts cultivation. She has almost never been in contact with things other than martial arts. If you want to compare, she, who is nearly 17 years old, has not seen as much as Jiang Yushan since she was born. So she has never been to a place like a market, and she has never seen the life of ordinary people with her own eyes. What do you want to eat, or what do you know how to cook? You can go and buy ingredients. At this time, Ji Yu said to Jiang Yuchu. All right. Jiang Yuchu responded and walked into the market. She came to a stall and squatted down to pick the ingredients. What do you want? The stall's vendor was a middle-aged auntie. As soon as she finished speaking, she suddenly realized that the girl in front of her looked familiar, but she couldn't remember who she was. This was because Jiang Yuchu rarely appeared in front of ordinary people. She would only appear on the streets when she went to the Demon Beast mountain range to train. However, her beauty and strength were both outstanding. Most people had heard of her even if they had never seen her before. As a result, although everyone in Chaoyang Ancient City had heard of Jiang Yuechu's great name, they might not be able to recognize her. Let me take a look first, Jiang Yuchu muttered to herself as she tried her best to select the ingredients. She had never come into contact with these things before, so even choosing ingredients was not easy for her. It took her quite a while to select the ingredients. This was because Jiang Yuchu kept recalling the dishes she had eaten and the ingredients used in those dishes. Otherwise, she didn't know how long it would take her to select the ingredients. How many gold coins do these cost? Jiang Yuchu asked the auntie. The auntie couldn't help but be stunned. She had never seen anyone buy food with gold coins. Ji Yu couldn't help but speechlessly hold her forehead. Didn't this girl have any common sense? Most people used copper coins to buy groceries. For things like buying groceries, the value of gold coins was still too high. Little girl, these dishes only cost 80 copper coins in total. You don't need any gold coins. The auntie suddenly realized that this might be the first time the girl in front of her went out to buy food. She immediately said with a smile, or you can give me a gold coin, and I'll give you 20 copper coins. Oh, okay. Jiang Yuchu was a little dazed as she replied. She immediately took out a gold coin and gave it to the auntie. The auntie then gave her 20 copper coins. Chapter 95. Do you still want to buy other ingredients? Seeing that Jiang Yuchu had put away the 20 copper coins, Ji Yu immediately asked. I'll take a look around. Jiang Yuchu stood up and went to look for other stalls. Some of the stall vendors recognized that this red-dressed young lady was the eldest daughter of the city lord's mansion, Jiang Yuchu. They all prayed that this eldest daughter would not patronize their stalls. Because they were just ordinary people, if this eldest daughter came to buy ingredients, they definitely would not dare to accept money and could only give it to her for free. After a while, Jiang Yuchu finished choosing the ingredients. It could be seen that she did not choose many ingredients, but it was definitely enough for 2 people. You're not going to continue? Then you can go back. Ji Yu looked at Jiang Yuchu and said. Okay, I'll show you my cooking later. Jiang Yuchu said with a face full of confidence. Then I'll have to wait and see. Ji Yu said with a smile. In reality, he did not have high hopes for Jiang Yuchu. After a while, Ji Yu and Jiang Yuchu returned to the room. After returning to the room, Ji Yu sat on the bed. Jiang Yuchu, on the other hand, walked briskly to the kitchen, looking very excited. Ji Yu looked at Jiang Yuchu with a relaxed attitude. He did not expect Jiang Yuechu's food to be delicious, as long as it was edible. After all, Jiang Yuchu had high hopes for Jiang Yuchu since she was young. She had probably always focused on martial arts and rarely came into contact with other things. She did not even have the experience of buying ingredients, so how could he have delusions that Jiang Yuchu could make delicious food? Thump, thump, thump. At this moment, the sound of chopping could be heard coming from the kitchen. However, these chopping sounds sounded very stiff and without any rhythm. Ji Yu was a little worried when she heard the sound that normal people couldn't make. She got up and walked to the kitchen to take a look. Jiang Yuchu, you, Ji Yu said as she walked behind Jiang Yuchu. Just as he opened his mouth to speak, the sound of chopping suddenly stopped. Ji Yu suspiciously walked forward to take a look. She saw Jiang Yuchu staring at her finger in a daze. There was a wound on her fair and slender jade finger, and blood was constantly flowing out from the wound. It seemed that his voice had distracted Jiang Yuchu, so Jiang Yuchu had accidentally cut her hand. You actually cut your hand? Ji Yu exclaimed in surprise. No matter what, being called by his name shouldn't hurt his finger, right? In his surprise, he immediately tore a small piece of white cloth from his clothes, intending to bandage Jiang Yuechu's wound. Seeing Jiang Yuchu in a daze, it was obvious that this was her first time trying to cut vegetables. Hold the wound on your finger in your mouth first. I'll bandage it for you later, Ji Yu said. However, Jiang Yuchu didn't seem to have regained her senses, and her reaction was very slow. Seeing that Jiang Yuchu didn't have the slightest reaction, Ji Yu thought about it and decided to do it himself. Although this kind of small wound didn't have much effect on a martial cultivator, it would be more troublesome if the wound worsened. Ji Yu grabbed Jiang Yuechu's small hand and gently sucked on the injured finger without any distracting thoughts. Jiang Yuchu suddenly felt a warm touch on her fingertip, and only then did she regain her senses. Seeing that Ji Yu was sucking on her finger, she suddenly became even more shocked. You! What are you doing? Jiang Yuchu asked in a daze. At this time, Ji Yu felt that it was about time, so he let go of her finger. Then he used a small piece of white cloth to bandage Jiang Yuechu's wound, and said, Of course I'm treating your wound. Yes. So it's like this. Jiang Yuchu gradually recovered from her shock. It turned out that she had a false alarm. Just now, she suddenly saw Ji Yu sucking on her finger, which really scared her. Okay, this is all right. Soon, Ji Yu helped Jiang Yuchu bandage her wound. Chapter 96. Thank you. Jiang Yuchu thanked him subconsciously. However, she was still concerned about what had just happened. Seeing you like this, why don't you let me do it myself? Ji Yu tried to dissuade her. She couldn't even hold a kitchen knife steadily and didn't know how to chop vegetables. Wouldn't it be worse when she cooked? No, I still want to do it myself, Jiang Yuchu said firmly. Ji Yu was speechless for a moment. Then you can continue. He wanted to see what kind of tricks this Jiang Yuchu could play. If he was not surprised, Jiang Yuchu was just stubbornly holding on. Jiang Yuechu's gaze was firm, determined to conquer Ji Yu with delicious food. However, half an hour later, Ji Yu sat in front of the table and looked at the plate on the table that was filled with all kinds of black food. His appetite suddenly disappeared. All of the dishes on this plate had been burned to a crisp by Jiang Yuchu without exception. Ji Yu was not particularly surprised by this. It was not surprising that a person who did not know how to cook insisted on cooking. Is this the legendary dark cuisine? Ji Yu complained in his heart. Jiang Yuchu lowered her head slightly, as if embarrassed to meet Ji Yu's eyes. She also knew that the dishes she made were impossible to eat. Why don't I throw away these dishes and make them again later? Jiang Yuchu said with a slightly complicated expression. I'd better try it first. After all, you worked hard to make it. Ji Yu sighed slightly. Jiang Yuchu lowered her head again and fell silent. Her heart was filled with mixed feelings. She could see that Ji Yu was obviously taking her feelings into consideration, so she braced herself and chose to taste it. At the same time, a trace of gratitude appeared in her heart. After all, no matter what, she still had a little bit of hope that these dishes would taste good to Ji Yu. Although this little bit of expectation was close to zero. Ji Yu swallowed her saliva and took a deep breath. He picked up an indescribable object with his chopsticks and put it into his mouth with trembling hands. The moment that indescribable thing touched the tip of her tongue, Ji Yu immediately felt her scalp go numb. This was a taste that he had never tasted before. Not only was it burnt to the extreme, it was also salty to the point of exploding. In that brief moment, he felt as if his entire body was about to split apart. However, Ji Yu forcefully controlled her facial expression, so her expression remained calm. How is it? Jiang Yuchu asked softly with a hint of expectation. Looking at Jiang Yuechu's expectant expression, Ji Yu couldn't bear to tell her the cruel truth. She forced a smile and said, "It's okay." "Really?" Jiang Yuchu was overjoyed and asked in disbelief. "Well, for a newbie like you, it's pretty good." Ji Yu nodded affirmatively. He admitted that he was speaking against his conscience. "Then I'll try it too." Jiang Yuchu didn't show much emotion on the surface, but she was extremely excited inside. She was very eager to try the first dish she made in her life, so she picked up her chopsticks. However, just as she was about to reach out, she was suddenly stopped by Ji Yu with another pair of chopsticks. "What's wrong?" Jiang Yuchu asked in a puzzled tone. Ji Yu didn't know how to explain for a while. After thinking for a while, she came up with an excuse. "I think these dishes are too delicious. I want to finish them by myself." "Okay then." Jiang Yuchu nodded with a puzzled expression. She still had some doubts in her heart. Without saying anything else, Ji Yu began to wolf down the food. Anyway, his cultivation wasn't low now. Even if he ate 10 more plates of this dark cuisine, it wouldn't affect his body at all. Very soon, Ji Yu ate the entire plate of indescribable things with a sullen expression. Other than his tongue being a little uncomfortable, there were no other side effects. Ding. Master's body has been injured. Experience gained from the low-grade yellow rank thick earth armor, 1 by 999 times. Hearing the system notification, Ji Yu couldn't help but feel helpless. Even the system couldn't bear to see his tongue being injured. Then, he put the plate into the kitchen and sat on the bed to consume pills to cultivate. At this time, Jiang Yuchu was still a little concerned. She quietly walked to the kitchen. Chapter 97. At this moment, Ji Yu was taking pills to improve his martial arts cultivation. Because he was too focused on cultivation, he didn't notice that Jiang Yuchu had run to the kitchen. Jiang Yuchu quietly walked into the kitchen and took out the plate that Ji Yu had just cleaned up. No matter what, she still wanted to taste the food she made. Jiang Yuchu used her fingertips to lightly scratch the black residue left on the plate, then put it in her mouth and took a sip. In the next moment, her eyebrows suddenly wrinkled together. Her first feeling was that she wanted to vomit. She had never eaten something so disgusting. The taste was completely indescribable. Jiang Yuechu's heart was very complicated. She recalled Ji Yu's words and actions. She couldn't even bear such a small amount, but Ji Yu endured and ate the entire plate. However, this was also related to the different habits of different people. As the eldest daughter of the city lord's mansion, she had never had a bad diet. Ji Yu had been taken in by a poor couple since she was young. Ji Yu had suffered a lot more than Jiang Yuchu. Of course, Jiang Yuchu didn't consider this. Her heart was full of self-blame. She was still delusional to think that Ji Yu would feel that it was delicious. Instead, Ji Yu forced herself to eat this extremely disgusting food out of consideration for her feelings. She didn't even dare to use the word food to describe these things. However, in addition to this, Jiang Yuchu also had a good impression of Ji Yu from the bottom of her heart. Because this was the first time she felt care from someone other than her mother. Jiang Yuchu looked at the plate in her hand in a daze. The corner of her mouth outlined a faint smile. This was the taste of happiness. But soon, her expression returned to normal. Jiang Yuchu put down the plate in her hand, walked out of the kitchen, and sat down next to Ji Yu. She stared at Ji Yu's face, which was immersed in cultivation, and couldn't help but gradually lose focus. Unknowingly, a thought began to form in her heart. If he really became Dao companions with Ji Yu, it wouldn't be impossible. Halfway through her thoughts, Jiang Yuchu suddenly shook her head vigorously. No, no, no. She forcibly suppressed the urge in her heart. I can't be so selfish. I have to wait until after that. Jiang Yuchu was in a dilemma. It's not too late to wait until after that. Currently, her first step was to make Ji Yu fall for her. Otherwise, she would not be able to continue. Meanwhile, on the other side, Ji Yu continued to consume pills to cultivate his martial arts. Ding. Master has consumed a medium grade 2 medicinal pill. Experience gained 4 martial arts cultivation, 7,000 by 999 times. Ding. Master has consumed an inferior second-grade medicinal pill. Experience gained from martial cultivation, 5,000 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Martial arts cultivation has successfully broken through to the mid-third level of the defensive profound realm. After taking all the pills, Jiyu's martial arts cultivation had only broken through a small level. However, he could clearly feel that he was about to reach the peak of the mid-third level of the defensive profound realm. Once completely saturated, he would be able to break through to the late third level of the defensive profound realm. Given the current situation, it would not be difficult for Jiyu to break through to the late third level of the defensive profound realm quickly. At most, he would need to take 1 or 2 pills or cultivate for a while more. After taking all the pills, he could leave the cultivation state. Jiyu immediately opened his eyes. The moment he opened his eyes, he suddenly realized that Jiang Yuchu was sitting opposite him, staring straight at him. "Why do you keep staring at my face?" Jiyu immediately asked. Chapter 98. Nothing. Jiang Yuchu immediately averted her gaze, a hint of panic flashing through her eyes. At this moment, Jiyu suddenly remembered that Jiang Yuchu hadn't eaten anything yet. He immediately stood up and said, "Speaking of which, you haven't eaten anything yet. I'll bring you to eat something." No, Jiang Yuchu was just about to refuse when she saw that Jiyu had already walked out of the door. She had no choice but to follow him. "What do you want to eat?" Jiyu was worried about Jiang Yuechu's identity. "You might not be used to the food around here. Why don't you go back to the city lord's residence?" After all, Jiang Yuchu was the eldest daughter of the city lord's residence. She was probably used to eating all sorts of delicacies. It was very likely that she wouldn't be used to eating commoners' food. "No need." Jiang Yuchu shook her head slightly and said, "I can eat anything." She had just tasted her own masterpiece. Now, she really could eat anything as long as it wasn't too bad. Moreover, she really wanted to try what kind of food the commoners ate. "Then come with me. Don't regret it when the time comes," Jiyu said. "Okay," Jiang Yuchu nodded firmly. Soon, Jiyu brought Jiang Yuchu to a tea house. He had been to this tea house before. It was the time when he was picked on by 3 ignorant men. When Jiyu walked into the tea house, many people had already recognized him. "Look, that's Jiyu. He's here again. I heard that Jiyu taught those 3 ignorant men a lesson last time. I don't know what those 3 men's brains are made of. How dare they provoke Jiyu? Yeah, those 3 men are brainless." Jiyu dared to make a move on Chen Yang in front of the Kanglan Empire Academy's teachers. He's a very ruthless person. Wait. There seems to be a young girl behind him. This young girl, isn't she the city lord's eldest miss, Jiang Yuchu? Everyone started whispering to each other. Especially when they saw Jiang Yuchu behind Jiyu, their discussion became even more intense. F***ck, it's true. The eldest daughter of the city lord's mansion also came along. I've only heard that the relationship between the second miss of the city lord's mansion and Jiyu isn't ordinary. I didn't expect that the first miss would also have a relationship with Jiyu. Could it be that both sisters are together with Jiyu? F***ck, Jiyu really is a winner in life. Not only is her innate talent incomparably strong, she also has a pair of beautiful sisters accompanying her. I'm so envious. For a moment, the whole tea house was noisy. Jiyu completely ignored the surrounding voices and said to Jiang Yuchu, "You can order what you want. I've already eaten, so there's no need." Although the things that she ate before were indescribable, she had eaten all of them. Naturally, she was full. "It's better for you to order something for me. I've never been here before," Jiang Yuchu said in confusion. Then, Jiyu thought for a moment and shouted, "Waiter, give me some light dishes." "Okay, right away." When the waiter saw that it was the young expert from last time, he quickly acted. A few minutes later, a few dishes were served. Moreover, they didn't dare to take a single cent from Jiyu. However, Jiyu still casually threw a gold coin to the waiter. After all, he didn't have anything like copper coins on him. The waiter was flattered and thanked her repeatedly. Try it. If it's not to your taste, you can directly change it. Ji Yu said to Jiang Yuchu. Hearing Ji Yu's words, Jiang Yuchu used her chopsticks to pick up a piece of vegetable leaf and tried to taste it. After chewing for a while, she slowly opened her mouth and said, "I'm not used to it." In fact, Jiang Yuchu was more or less not used to it. However, as long as it didn't taste bad, she could eat it. Then it's fine. You can continue eating. Ji Yu looked like an old father looking at his daughter and said with a smile. Okay, Jiang Yuchu nodded obediently. Chapter 99. Jiang Yuchu ate in small mouthfuls like a virtuous lady. Suddenly, her beautiful eyes flashed as if she thought of something. Jiang Yuchu handed the chopsticks in her hand to Ji Yu. Ji Yu didn't understand what Jiang Yuchu meant. Then, he asked in confusion, "What are you doing?" "You're feeding me," Jiang Yuchu said without any change in her expression. There wasn't the slightest trace of shyness on her face. "You have hands, why do you want me to feed you?" Ji Yu asked with a speechless face. "Of course it's to seduce you, so that you can be infatuated with me," Jiang Yuchu said seriously. Ji Yu was quite speechless. He wanted to ridicule, what's the use of saying it directly like this? But he didn't say it out loud. "Hurry up and feed me." Jiang Yuchu handed the chopsticks to Ji Yu again and said stubbornly. Okay. Then I want to see how you can seduce me." Ji Yu took the chopsticks in Jiang Yuechu's hand, picked up a piece of vegetable leaf and put it into Jiang Yuechu's mouth. Jiang Yuchu slowly closed her eyes and let Ji Yu feed her. Because Jiang Yuchu closed her eyes, Ji Yu's attention was completely focused on Jiang Yuechu's red lips. The red lips were like two dewy petals. Originally, Ji Yu didn't feel anything, but when he focused on Jiang Yuechu's lips, he couldn't help but gradually sink in. Looking at those exquisite and flawless facial features, he even had a faint impulse to kiss her. Fortunately, Ji Yu's willpower was strong, so he immediately suppressed this impulse. He couldn't help but sigh. Jiang Yuchu was really a femme fatale. He was really almost seduced. If it were an ordinary person, they would definitely have been unable to control themselves long ago. Ding. Master has resisted the lowly's temptation. Basic willpower experience gained, 1 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Your basic willpower has successfully broken through to the initial success realm. How was that possible? Ji Yu was stunned when she heard the system notification. This system was getting more and more ridiculous. It even came up with something like resisting the temptation of lawless. However, after the system's reminder, Ji Yu realized that Jiang Yuchu was indeed a little lowly. Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushan were about the same height. Both sisters were much shorter than him. Based on his visual estimation, the two sisters were no more than 1.5 meters tall. They were definitely lowly sisters. Jiang Yuchu continued to open her mouth slightly and wait for Ji Yu to feed her. She looked like a little kitten waiting to be fed. This cute appearance might not have been deliberately made by Jiang Yuchu, but it was extremely lethal to ordinary men. Fortunately, Ji Yu's willpower was strong enough to not be affected by Jiang Yuechu's unintentional action. Ding. Master has resisted the lowly's temptation. Basic willpower experience gained, 1 by 999 times. Ding. Master has resisted the lowly's temptation. Basic willpower experience gained, 1 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Basic willpower has successfully broken through to the greater success realm. Ding. Basic willpower experience gained is full. It has automatically leveled up to bronze level willpower. As she fed, Ji Yu's willpower was strengthened to bronze level. During this process, everyone's eyes were focused on Ji Yu and Jiang Yuchu. Am I seeing things? Ji Yu is actually feeding Miss Jiang. And Miss Jiang doesn't seem to be unwilling at all. I thought it was only second Miss Jiang Yushan. I didn't expect first Miss Jiang Yuchu to fall for him so quickly. This is too awesome. I don't know where Ji Yu learned how to pick up girls. There were even some uncles and aunties who sighed. Young people nowadays are really full of tricks. Chapter 100. Done. After finally finishing feeding her, Ji-yu let out a sigh of relief. It had to be said that this little lowly's unintentional seduction was quite strong. Normally, he wouldn't think much of it. Then, have you been successfully seduced by me? Jiang Yuchu asked seriously. You've successfully seduced me. Ji-yu didn't beat around the bush and answered directly. Really? Don't try to trick me. Jiang Yuchu said doubtfully. Of course it's true. There's no need for me to lie to you about this kind of thing. Ji-yu said calmly. Jiang Yuchu was still a little skeptical. She stared at Ji-yu's eyes for a while, but didn't see anything strange in Ji-yu's eyes. At this time, the corners of her mouth curled up into a faint smile. She seemed to be quite happy. Speaking of which, it's rare to see you smile. Seeing Jiang Yuchu like this, Ji-yu couldn't help but say. He still remembered that from the first time he saw Jiang Yuchu until now, Jiang Yuchu had always had a straight face. She had almost never smiled. Today, however, she was smiling for once. Suddenly, he remembered that Jiang Yuchu had pretended to be sad in front of his room and said, speaking of which, you've been showing a lot more expressions recently. It should have something to do with your parents. It seems that you sisters and manor head Jiang's relationship has more or less eased up. Is that so? Jiang Yuechu's expression was a little blank. In reality, after suppressing and sealing her heart these past few years, she was now a little confused about her own personality. That's right. Your expressions have clearly become more varied recently. At least, you're not as cold as before. Ji-yu said, at the very least, you're still very cute when you smile. In the future, if you smile more often, maybe I'll fall for you. So, cute. Jiang Yuchu lowered her head shyly and murmured softly. However, she didn't make it obvious, so Ji-yu didn't notice her shyness at all. All right, it's about time to go. With that, Ji-yu stood up. Yes. The faint blush on Jiang Yuechu's face quickly disappeared, and her expression returned to normal. However, the subtle changes in her heart couldn't disappear. Along the way, it was already late. Seeing that Jiang Yuchu was still following her, Ji-yu turned her head and asked, "Why are you still following me? Aren't you going back?" However, he quickly thought about it. It was definitely useless to say these words to Jiang Yuchu. Without waiting for Jiang Yuchu to speak, Ji-yu said, "To be honest, I'm already a bit infatuated with you. You should go back first. Tomorrow, change into a more beautiful set of clothes. Maybe I'll be completely infatuated with you." Hearing Ji-yu's words, Jiang Yuchu, who originally wanted to continue following Ji-yu, immediately said, "Okay, then I'll come find you tomorrow." Then, Jiang Yuchu no longer followed Ji-yu. It seemed that she was heading in the direction of the city lord's mansion. This little lowly is finally going back. Ji-yu said somewhat helplessly. If he hadn't said those words, with Jiang Yuechu's stubborn personality, she would definitely have followed him back. She might even have stayed overnight. Although Lawless had 3 good points, a clear voice, a soft body, and easy to push down, he couldn't be such a beast, right? Chapter 101. After returning home, Ji-yu had been cultivating the sky splitter technique. Cultivating the sky splitter could increase one's physique and talent, so he naturally wouldn't neglect this point. Ji-yu wanted to raise the first stage of the sky splitter to perfection as soon as possible. This way, his efficiency in cultivating martial arts would be higher. Once his profound chi was depleted, he would consume pills to recover it and repeat this cycle. Ding! Master has activated the first stage of the King Stage Technique Sky Splitter. King Stage Technique Sky Splitter first stage gained experience, 10,000*999 times. Ding! Master has consumed a great returning profound pill. The recovery effect of profound chi has increased by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations Master, the first stage of the King Stage Technique Sky Splitter has successfully broken through to the perfection stage. After an unknown period of time, Ji-yu finally broke through to the next stage of the technique. If nothing unexpected happened, his physique should have been upgraded to the 8th grade of the mortal body. Next, he tried to cultivate martial arts. Ding! Master has cultivated martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience, 8 by 999 times. As expected, as the realm of the sky splitter technique increased, the cultivation effect increased by a lot again. After that, until his cultivation broke through, Jiyu kept cultivating. Ding. Master has cultivated martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience, 8 by 999 times. Ding. Master has cultivated martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience, 8 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Martial arts cultivation has successfully broken through to the late stage of the 3rd level of the defensive profound realm. After successfully breaking through to the late stage of the 3rd level of the defensive profound realm, Jiyu fell asleep. Early the next morning, Jiyu was woken up by a series of knocks on the door. Dong dong dong. Although the sound wasn't loud, Jiyu's consciousness was more sensitive and he was immediately awakened. He had just woken up, so his mind was a little sluggish. After a while, he realized that other than Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushin, no one else would come here. Jiyu got out of bed and stretched her body. Then, she went to open the door. Sure enough, the person standing in front of the door was Jiang Yuchu. The next moment, Jiyu's eyes widened slightly. Why are you dressed like this? Unlike the past, Jiang Yuchu was dressed very cute today. Her hair was tied into 2 ponytails, and she was wearing a snow-white strapless dress. Especially those slender and smooth jade legs that were wrapped in white silk, they were extremely alluring. It was Mother who wanted me to dress like this. She said that you would definitely like it. Being stared at by Jiyu, Jiang Yuchu subconsciously felt a little bashful. What do you think? Jiyu rubbed his chin and carefully sized up Jiang Yuchu from head to toe. He nodded solemnly. You do look very cute like this. Lolita, Beth, 2 ponytails. Jiyu had to admit that this was really amazing. That's good. Jiang Yuchu slowly let out a sigh of relief in her heart. At the same time, she felt a burst of joy. Chapter 102. Then, in order to achieve some goals, you're really willing to sacrifice yourself. Jiyu couldn't help but sigh. In his opinion, with Jiang Yuechu's personality, she probably didn't like to wear this kind of outfit and forced herself to wear it. Although he didn't know Jiang Yuechu very well. So, are you infatuated with me now? Jiang Yuechu asked very seriously. Well, let me think. It's about time. Jiyu thought about it and said, I'll continue to work hard. As she spoke, Jiang Yuechu walked into the house. Jiyu watched Jiang Yuechu walk in silently. Now, he was a little confused. Now that it had come to this point, should he agree to Jiang Yuechu or not? Was it better to agree to Jiang Yuechu? He even gradually couldn't tell whether the other party was sincere or not. Jiyu pondered for a while and decided to say, instead of going through so much trouble, why don't you tell me why you're doing this? As long as it's something I can help you with, I'll try my best to help you. He felt that it was meaningless to continue like this, and it was easy to cause some unnecessary trouble. I definitely can't let you know about that kind of thing. Jiang Yuechu said to Jiyu with a light smile. Jiang Yuechu's rare smile and those words immediately made Jiyu more concerned about Jiang Yuechu's purpose. However, since Jiang Yuechu was unwilling to say, he could only give up for the time being. Forget it, it's useless to think so much. Let nature take its course. Jiyu gradually felt relieved and thought to himself. But at this moment, another voice suddenly came from outside the door. Sister, why are you here at Jiyu's place? Jiyu immediately recognized the owner of the voice. She turned around and saw that it was indeed Jiang Yushin. Jiang Yuechu looked at Jiang Yushin in surprise. Yushin, you bastard, how dare you abduct my sister? Jiang Yushin put her hands on her hips and pretended to be angry at Jiyu. Then, she muttered in an extremely soft voice, clearly, I alone am enough, don't misunderstand me. I've never abducted your sister. Although Jiyu knew that she might not be able to explain it, she still tried to explain it. I won't be fooled by you. How could big sister take the initiative to look for you? You must have forced her, and halfway through her sentence, Jiang Yushan seemed to find it difficult to continue. She pointed at Jiang Yuechu's outfit and said shyly, "You even let my sister dress in such a shameless manner." "I'm really not lying to you." Ji Yu originally wanted to say something, but after thinking about it, it seemed that what she said yesterday really did work. That was why Jiang Yuchu was forced to dress like this by the manor head's wife. Sensing that Ji Yu was suddenly feeling a little guilty, Jiang Yushan snorted and said, "As expected, I didn't guess wrong. You were the one who abducted my sister." At this moment, Ji Yu was suddenly at a loss for words. "No, Yushan, I wanted it to be like this." Right at this moment, Jiang Yuchu suddenly spoke up. "Sister, I'm already here. You don't have to care about this guy's threats anymore." Jiang Yushan didn't believe Jiang Yuechu's words at all. She thought that Jiang Yuchu was still being controlled by Ji Yu. Ji Yu was speechless. What kind of person did this girl think she was? "No, I'm telling the truth. I'm not joking." Jiang Yuchu shook her head. Seeing her sister's serious expression, Jiang Yushan couldn't help but feel that something was wrong. She looked at Jiang Yuechu's expression and was dazed for a moment. Then, as if she was dreaming, she slowly muttered, "Sister, you couldn't have also fallen for this guy, right?" "Chem." Ji Yu suddenly felt that something was wrong. She frowned slightly and asked, "Why did you say also?" "Also? Could it be?" After Ji Yu said this, Jiang Yushan realized that she had just spilled the beans. However, how could she be so honest? She explained with a flustered expression, Just now, it was a slip of the tongue. Also, I'm talking to my sister. Don't interrupt." Okay. Ji Yu didn't think too much about it and said in a perfunctory tone, "That's right. I, your sister, have fallen for Ji Gongzi." Jiang Yuchu said with a sincere gaze. Chapter 103. No. Sister, when will you? Jiang Yushan had become incoherent. Before she could finish a sentence, Jiang Yuchu continued calmly, "If Ji Gongzi is willing, I want to get engaged to Ji Gongzi in a few days." Ji Yu was suddenly full of question marks. What the hell did she mean by getting engaged in a few days? No. Suddenly, Jiang Yushan was so excited that she almost blurted out, "Why not? My engagement to Ji Gongzi doesn't seem to have anything to do with you, does it?" Jiang Yuchu was very calm. "How can it have nothing to do with me? I. Jiang Yushan was so anxious that she couldn't even speak clearly. At this time, she couldn't care so much and simply threw caution to the wind. "I came first. So, you admit it, right?" Jiang Yuechu's mouth slightly raised a triumphant smile. Hearing Jiang Yuechu's sudden change of topic, Jiang Yushan was stunned for a moment and didn't realize what Jiang Yuchu was talking about. "Admit what? You admit that you like Ji Gongzi, right?" At this time, Jiang Yuchu was like a little devil. It was unknown whether it was intentional or not, but there was a faint evil smile on his face. Jiang Yushan was suddenly shocked and said with panic in her eyes, No, how can I like this guy?" Only Ji Yu was confused and didn't understand what the two sisters wanted to do. The two sisters were fighting over and over again. Did they like him or not? "Since you don't like him, why do you want to stop me from getting engaged to Ji Gongzi?" Jiang Yuchu said with a slightly playful smile. "I don't care. You can't get engaged." Jiang Yushan made trouble for no reason. "It's not up to you," Jiang Yuchu said flatly. Jiang Yushan finally couldn't argue anymore. Her face turned red. I want to go back and tell my mother." After saying that, she quickly left the place. "So, what are you two sisters doing?" Seeing Jiang Yushan leave as if she was escaping, Ji Yu asked Jiang Yuchu speechlessly. "Can't you see it?" Jiang Yuchu asked with an expressionless face. "I can see something. I guess your goal should be related to your sister." Ji Yu thought for a moment and said, "That's all you can think of?" Jiang Yuechu's brows slightly frowned. "That's the only way." Ji Yu nodded. Jiang Yuchu felt a wave of helplessness as he sighed in his heart. It had already reached that point just now, but the other party still couldn't see it. She simply didn't know how to describe the other party. This degree of dullness, in a sense, was unparalleled. At this time, Jiang Yuchu wanted to say to Ji Yu's face, "You're really worthy of being called you. No matter what aspect, you're far superior to ordinary people." But in the end, she didn't say it. "If it's really related to Jiang Yushin, then I can cooperate with you." At this time, Ji Yu said, "But I hope you can tell me the specific ins and outs of the matter." "I won't say it. Work hard to comprehend it yourself." Jiang Yuchu said with a face full of disappointment. "Comprehend what?" Hearing Jiang Yuechu's words, Ji Yu was even more confused. He thought for a while, but still couldn't figure out what the two sisters wanted to do. Soon, he was too lazy to continue thinking. Instead of wasting his brain cells on this kind of thing, it was better to spend more time cultivating or improving his cultivation. "Then I'll go buy some ingredients first. I've already learned a lot from Mother. Today's breakfast definitely won't be a problem," Jiang Yuchu said with a face full of confidence. Ji Yu was silent for a moment. "Forget it, up to you. I'll be back in a while. You must wait for me to come back." Jiang Yuchu looked as if she was afraid that Ji Yu would secretly eat breakfast first. "Okay, Tilda, I got it," Ji Yu said perfunctorily. After that, Jiang Yuchu left with a little relief. But just as Ji Yu was about to sit down on the bed and cultivate, he suddenly saw a small head pop out of the door. "Jiang Yushin?" Ji Yu knew it was Jiang Yushin by looking at her hairstyle. Then, he asked, "Didn't you go back? Why are you back?" I forgot to tell you something." At this moment, Jiang Yushin slowly appeared. She twirled two of her fingers in a bashful manner. Chapter 104. Jiang Yushin thought that Ji Yu already knew that she liked him, so she was extremely shy. "What is it?" Ji Yu asked in confusion. "Why did you come here without saying anything?" "My father wanted to thank you properly." Seeing that Ji Yu's expression was normal, Jiang Yushin gradually became less shy. However, she still unconsciously felt a sense of loss in her heart. "There's no need to thank me," Ji Yu said politely. "Father has already given me a thank you gift, so you have to accept it even if you don't want it." Jiang Yushin took off the storage ring on her hand and forced Ji Yu to put it on. Only then did she suddenly realize that her behavior was a little too ambiguous. However, this time, Jiang Yushin didn't run away halfway like before because she was afraid that Ji Yu would really be snatched away by her older sister. Not only that, but she also said shyly in a small voice, "This storage ring seems to be a pair with me." "Oh, it seems like it really is." After hearing Jiang Yueshin's words, Ji Yu realized that the storage ring that Jiang Yushin gave her was a pair with the one that Jiang Yushin was wearing. After waiting for a long time, Ji Yu didn't continue to speak. Jiang Yushin couldn't help but ask, "Don't you have anything else to say?" "What else do you want to say?" Ji Yu asked in return. "Forget it." Jiang Yushin suddenly felt lost. "Nothing." She finally mustered up her courage, but the other party didn't notice anything. "What's wrong?" Seeing Jiang Yushin like this, Ji Yu became even more confused. "If you feel uncomfortable anywhere, you can tell me." "I said nothing." After hearing that, Jiang Yushin was even more furious and ran away without saying anything. However, she didn't run for long before she turned back and warned, "If you dare to force my sister to do anything bad, this young lady will definitely not let you off easily." After saying that, she snorted and left. Ji Yu was baffled. She couldn't figure out what was wrong with this guy today. He thought about it for a while but still couldn't figure it out, so he couldn't be bothered to continue thinking about it. He sat on the bed and continued to cultivate. Ding. Master has practiced martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained, 8 by 999 times. Ding. Master has practiced martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained, 8 by 999 times. Ding. Master has practiced martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained, 8 by 999 times. At the same time, in the Chen family's mansion in Chaoyang Ancient City, the head of the Chen family, Chen Wuheng, and the head of the Lin family, Lin Zhanshan, sat facing each other. The atmosphere in the room was very serious. Since the end of the entrance examination, Ji Yu had become famous in Chaoyang ancient city. Naturally, they couldn't bear it anymore. Brother Chen, I heard that Ji Yu is no longer in the mayor's mansion. Is this true? Lin Zhanshan asked Chen Wuheng. Yes, that guy ran to a hotel and stayed there. Chen Wuheng nodded. Then what do you mean? Lin Zhanshan asked. Now that the guy is like the sun in the sky, we can't just sit and wait for death. Chen Wuheng's eyes flashed coldly. Kill Ji Yu. But now that the guy has become a member of the Chenyuan martial house, we can't do it ourselves. Lin Zhanshan said worriedly. You and I don't need to do anything. When that guy goes to the Demon Beast mountain range again, I will send someone to assassinate him. Chen Wuheng sneered. Assassinate? Lin Zhanshan's eyes moved as if he had just realized something. He sneered, Brother Chen, I think that guy will definitely die this time. Chapter 105. Not long after Ji Yu started practicing martial arts, Jiang Yuchu came back. However, Jiang Yuchu didn't bring any ingredients with her. She came back empty-handed. Didn't you go out to buy ingredients? Seeing Jiang Yuchu like this, Ji Yu immediately asked in confusion. I'm a little embarrassed. Jiang Yuchu said shyly in a low voice. When Jiang Yuchu said this, Ji Yu instantly understood. If she went out in this dress, she would definitely attract all kinds of attention. Anyone would feel embarrassed. Why don't I go with you? Or I can go by myself. You can stay here. Ji Yu said with a smile. It's better for you to go with me. When it came to choosing ingredients, Jiang Yuchu still wanted to do it herself. After all, she only asked her mother about 1 or 2 specific dishes. Although she also felt embarrassed, it should be better with Ji Yu by her side. Okay, let's go then. Ji Yu nodded. Along the way, Jiang Yuchu hid behind Ji Yu, trying not to be seen by passers-by. It was the first time that Ji Yu saw Jiang Yuchu so shy, and she found it quite interesting. Walking on the road, the rate of passers-by turning their heads was almost 100%, so no matter how Jiang Yuchu hid, it was useless. At most, she didn't let others see her face. In the end, Jiang Yuchu finally bought the ingredients and went back, both physically and mentally exhausted. After going back, she immediately started to cook. About 10 minutes later, Jiang Yuchu walked out of the kitchen with a plate. Looking at the plate in Jiang Yuechu's hand, Ji Yu couldn't help but flash a trace of surprise in her eyes. Today, Jiang Yuechu's culinary skills had really improved. The dishes she made looked much better than yesterday. Under Jiang Yuechu's expectant gaze, Ji Yu tasted it. He found that although it was still not very tasty, it had improved a lot compared to yesterday. How do you feel? Jiang Yuchu asked excitedly. Very good. I've improved a lot this time. Ji Yu praised. Yes. Jiang Yuchu nodded happily. By the way, I'll be leaving Chaoyang ancient city for a few days. You don't have to come here. Ji Yu suddenly thought of something and immediately said to Jiang Yuchu. Where are you going? Jiang Yuchu asked subconsciously. I'm going to the Demon Beast mountain range to train for a few days. I hope you won't come with me. Ji Yu said honestly. Alright, I got it. Jiang Yuchu nodded. In fact, she was very clear in her heart. With Ji Yu's current strength, she wouldn't be able to help much even if she went to the Demon Beast mountain range. On the contrary, she would easily drag them down. In order not to cause unnecessary trouble for Ji Yu, she did not plan to go with them. Then, Jiang Yuchu said with concern, you have to be careful. Yes. Ji Yu nodded with a smile. Seeing this, Jiang Yuchu was a little relieved. After breakfast, Ji Yu set off and left the hotel. He originally planned to go to the Chaoyang branch to buy a higher-level storage ring. After all, his original storage ring was only a low-level first-grade storage ring. A low-level first-grade storage ring was completely not enough for him now. However, Ji Yu suddenly remembered the storage ring that Jiang Yushin gave him before, so he dismissed the idea of going to the Chaoyang branch immediately. He wanted to see what the storage ring was like first. He activated his spiritual power and penetrated the storage ring. Chapter 106. After that, Gu roughly estimated that the space in this storage ring was more than 10 times larger than his original storage ring. From this, it could be seen that the storage ring that Jiang Yushan sent over was at least of the first grade, or even the second grade. However, he didn't have a special understanding of storage rings, so he couldn't accurately determine the grade of this storage ring. After that, Gu took another look and discovered that there were several mystic skill manuals lying inside this storage ring. A storage ring and several mystic skill manuals. Although there weren't many things, it was enough to show Palace Master Jiang's sincerity. Not to mention the mystic skill manuals, just this storage ring alone was enough to make Gu very satisfied. Originally, he was in need of a storage ring with a larger storage space. Palace Master Jiang's actions could be said to be timely assistance. Let's see what kind of mystic skill manuals these 3 manuals are, Gu secretly thought to himself and began to control his mental strength to flip through the 3 mystic skill manuals in the storage ring. Ding! Master has taken a look at the Mystic Rank Inferior Finger Technique Limitless Finger, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Master has taken a look at the Mystic Rank Inferior Leg Technique Rushing Thunder Leg, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Master has taken a look at the Mystic Rank Inferior Claw Technique Blood Shadow Claw, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations Master, you have successfully comprehended the Mystic Rank Inferior Finger Technique Limitless Finger. Ding! Congratulations Master, you have successfully comprehended the Mystic Rank Inferior Leg Technique Rushing Thunder Leg. Ding! Congratulations Master, you have successfully comprehended the Mystic Rank Inferior Claw Technique Blood Shadow Claw. There were a total of 3 mystic skill manuals, namely Limitless Finger, Rushing Thunder Leg, and Blood Shadow Claw. Gu only casually glanced at these 3 manuals and instantly learned them all. Although he didn't lack mystic skills now, it was always good to have one more trick up his sleeve. Currently, his biggest trump card was the Mystic Rank Superior Blood Fiend Life-Ending Palm. Unless it was a life and death situation, he wouldn't easily use it. With nothing else to do, Gu set off for the Monster Beast Mountain Range. This time, he planned to stay in the Demonic Beast Mountain Range for a few days and return when the alchemy conference was about to begin. However, not long after Gu walked out of the city gates, she suddenly felt that someone was following her. His expression changed as he sped up and rushed out. Ding! Master has used the Mystic Middle Level skill Myriad Flash. Experience gained from the Mystic Middle Level skill Myriad Flash, 300 by 999 times. Gu's figure flashed and disappeared from the spot in an instant. In the next moment, 3 men in black appeared. I actually lost him. Damn it. The black-clothed man standing at the front cursed inwardly. I really didn't expect this kid's speed to be so fast. He disappeared without a trace in an instant. We can't catch up at all. This is going to be troublesome. The other 2 men in black were also embarrassed. The leader was silent for a while and said helplessly, "There's no other way. Let's go back first and just inform Family Head Chen." "Do you really think I'm gone?" Suddenly, a cold voice came from behind them. The 3 men in black were shocked and turned around. They didn't know when the black-robed young man appeared behind them. "If I'm not wrong, you 3 should be sent by that old dog Chen Wuheng, right?" Gu said coldly. Previously, he noticed that the 3 of them followed him out of Chaoyang Ancient City. In the entire Chaoyang Ancient City, except for the Chen family and the Lin family, there was no one who had a grudge against him. Just now, he heard the 3 words Family Head Chen from the men in black. He was sure that it was the Chen family without a doubt. The leader of the men in black was the first to calm down. "I was worried that I couldn't find you, but you delivered yourself to me. It seems that you want to assassinate me, right?" Gu smiled faintly, and a cold killing intent flashed in his eyes. Then, "Don't think that you can go back alive. Kid, you're so arrogant." The leader of the men in black didn't panic. Instead, he sneered. "It seems that you haven't figured out your current situation." As he spoke, the man in black suddenly waved his hand. A scroll with a strange pattern on it floated in mid-air. In an instant, countless strange and dazzling lights bloomed from the scroll. The strange light shone from above and below, enveloping the entire area around Ji. Looking at this scene, Ji couldn't help but frown. Suddenly, a notification came from the system. Ding! Master has seen the lower grade 3 formation Xiao Shozhen and triggered 999 times comprehension ability. Chapter 107. Ding! Congratulations Master, you have successfully comprehended the lower grade 3 array Xiao Shozhen. Following the system's notification, Jiyu's mind was filled with information regarding Xiao Shozhen. For example, the method to create an array, and even the method to break Xiao Shozhen's array had all been mastered by him. I was wondering why I had never seen such a thing before. So it's a type of array. Thinking of this, Jiyu's lips curled up slightly. Although he had never seen an array or array before, he had heard of it before. In this world, there was another profession that was as unique as the alchemist, and that was the array master. However, array masters were not very popular in the Kanglan Empire, and belonged to the very unpopular category. Thus, Jiyu had never seen an array master before. Today, he had seen one with his own eyes, and 3 at the same time. The 3 black-clothed men in front of him were the array masters who had cast Xiao Shozhen. Brat, let's see how you're going to show off now, ha ha ha. The black-clothed men laughed heartily, obviously unaware of what was about to happen. Seeing that you've delivered yourself to me, I'll let you die with a clear understanding. Not only did the black-clothed men not understand the situation, they were also very arrogant. This is the grade 3 array Xiao Shozhen, and it is activated by us 3 array masters. Martial practitioners below the Tongxian realm will not be able to escape. You brat, even if you grow wings, you have nowhere to run. Are you so sure that I can't escape? Jiyu said with an indifferent smile. Even at this time, you brat's tone is still not small. The black-clothed men looked at him with disdain. If you think you can escape from here, you can try. That's what you said. Jiyu said indifferently. He immediately began to read the method to break the array Xiao Shozhen in his mind. I'll give you 10 seconds. After 10 minutes, I will activate the array. Don't regret it when the time comes. The man in black laughed contemptuously. At this time, Jiyu had already found out how Xiao Shozhen was going to break the formation. The Xiao Shozhen's only weakness was the eye of the formation. However, this eye of the formation was extremely well hidden. Most people would not be able to see it with their naked eyes. However, Jiyu was not an ordinary person. He already knew the location of the formation eye through the method in his mind. Jiyu didn't want to waste any more words with the man in black. She immediately took action. Ding! Master has used the Mystic Middle Level skill Myriad Flash. Experience gained from the Mystic Middle Level skill Myriad Flash, 300 by 999 times. Using her body movements, Jiyu instantly arrived at the location of the Xiao Shozhen array core. Ding! Master has used the low profound rank profound skill Limitless Finger. Experience gained from the low profound rank profound skill Limitless Finger, 200 by 999 times. The tip of Jiyu's right index finger quickly condensed a golden ray of light. With a light tap, the golden ray of light suddenly shot out. The golden ray of light hit the eye of the formation. The entire Xiao Shozhen instantly collapsed. Ding! Master has broken the low 3rd rank formation Xiao Shozhen. Experience gained from the formation attainment, 600 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations Master, formation attainment has successfully broken through to the low 1st rank formation master. Ding! Congratulations Master, formation attainment has successfully broken through to the medium 1st rank formation master. After successfully breaking the Xiao Shozhen array core, Jiyu instantly broke through twice. He was directly promoted to the medium 1st rank formation master. In this instant, Jiyu grasped a large amount of knowledge regarding formations. However, he didn't have the time to care about these things. He still had important matters to attend to. At the same time, on the other side, the 3 men in black's eyes were filled with disbelief. They all stood there dumbstruck like wooden chickens. Especially the man in black who had been so arrogant just now. His entire body froze, and his mind went blank. The third-rank formation Xiao Shozhen that he was originally so proud of was actually so easily broken by the opponent. He simply couldn't believe that everything that was happening in front of his eyes was real. In the next moment, Ji Yu's figure flashed and quickly appeared in front of the three men in black. I've said it before. Don't even think about leaving this place alive today. Looking at the three completely dumbfounded people in front of him, Ji Yu laughed coldly. Chapter 108. In the blink of an eye, Ji Yu unleashed three limitless fingers at the three black-clothed men. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The low-grade mystic skill Boundless Finger has successfully broken through to the initial success realm. Although the Boundless Finger was not the most powerful mystic skill he had, it was fast and had a large range, making it more convenient to use. The men in black seemed to only have high attainments in formations, but not in martial arts. In addition, the three men in black were stunned on the spot, unable to resist at all. Their hearts were pierced directly. Until their deaths, they did not understand how Ji Yu broke the Xiao Shozhen. After dealing with the three men, Ji Yu took the storage rings from their hands. Then, as if nothing had happened, Ji Yu headed to the Demon Beast mountain range with a calm expression. Ding! Congratulations, Master. The mid-grade mystic skill Myriad Flash has successfully broken through to the initial success realm. On the way to the middle of the Demon Beast mountain range, Ji Yu's mid-grade mystic skill Myriad Flash had broken through to the next realm. After a few days, there were only 5 days left before the start of the Grand Alchemy Conference. Ji Yu ended this period of training. In these few days, his martial arts cultivation had broken through to the peak of the third level of the defensive mystic realm. In addition, his leg technique Thunder Rush Leg, claw technique Blood Shadow Claw, movement technique Myriad Flash, and fist technique All Sides Fist had all broken through to the mastery realm. After leaving the Demon Beast mountain range, Ji Yu went straight back to Chaoyang Ancient City. On the way, he saw many carriages entering the city gate, and they all looked quite luxurious, as if they were the children of rich families. But Ji Yu did not care too much, and calmly headed to the Chaoyang branch. He wanted to sell all the demonic beast materials in his storage ring. Not long after, he arrived at the Chaoyang branch. But today's Chaoyang branch was a bit strange. Compared to usual, there were more people here, and he could even see many young men and women with strange clothes and unfamiliar faces. Ji Yu walked around the lobby of the Chaoyang branch and accidentally bumped into someone. Which blind bastard is that? The other party seemed to be about to flare up, but for some reason, his voice suddenly stopped. Ji Yu came back to her senses and realized that it was one of the people she met in the Monster Beast mountain range. Why are you here? Ji Yu didn't pay attention to the guy who bumped into her because he was so scared that he couldn't speak. His eyes were fixed on the veiled woman in front of him. We're just here for a walk. Could it be that you're also an alchemist? The calm man asked warily. Although he knew that he was being impolite, the strength of the young man in front of him was too terrifying, so he had to be careful. That's right, I'm an alchemist. Ji Yu said casually, but then again, you guys aren't from Chaoyang Ancient City, right? Previously, when he was in the Demon Beast mountain range, he could tell that among the 4 people on the other side, 2 of them were defensive Profound Realm warriors. One was the veiled woman, and the other was the cautious man in front of him. Ji Yu should have recognized all the geniuses in Chaoyang Ancient City, but he had never seen the veiled woman before. Obviously, this group of people wasn't from Chaoyang Ancient City. Yes, as you said, we're from Bright Moon Ancient City. The calm man said. I see, Ji Yu pondered. Bright Moon Ancient City was one of the territories of the Kanglan Empire, just next to Chaoyang Ancient City. It was no wonder that he met these 4 people in the Monster Beast mountain range last time, because the Monster Beast mountain range was surrounded by several ancient cities, and Bright Moon Ancient City was one of them. At this moment, the veiled woman who had been silent for a long time suddenly spoke. I'm Nangong Morching from the Nangong family in Bright Moon Ancient City. May I ask what's your name? Chapter 109. What does my name have to do with you? Ji Yu just didn't like this woman in front of him because he always felt a kind of temperament from this woman that kept people thousands of miles away. Although Yu Shuyun was also like an ice cube all day long, at least he wasn't as unapproachable as this Gongsun Morching. Moreover, Yu Shuyun had a very big beneficial relationship with him. After saying that, Ji Yu bypassed the 4 people in front of him. The calm man's face became a little ugly, but he didn't dare to say anything. Needless to say, the other 2 young men didn't dare to say a word. Only Gongsun Morching's expression didn't change from beginning to end, and no one could see the slightest fluctuation in her emotions. But no one noticed that her cold eyes flashed with a touch of excitement and a trace of fanaticism. Soon, Ji Yu came to the area where materials were traded. The people next to him looked at him taking out a large pile of demonic beast materials, and they seemed to be used to it. After getting a lot of gold coins, Ji Yu used these gold coins to buy alchemy materials. After that, he left the Chaoyang branch and returned to the hotel. Back in the room, Ji Yu immediately began to prepare to refine the medicinal pills. But when he took out the pill furnace from the storage ring, he suddenly remembered that there was still one thing that he almost forgot. A few days ago, he killed the 3 black-clothed men outside the demonic beast mountain range and took 3 storage rings from them. As a result, he forgot about it after entering the demonic beast mountain range, and only now did he suddenly remember it. Ji Yu decided to take a look at what was in the 3 storage rings first, and then refine the medicinal pills later. He opened the 3 storage rings one after another, and found that they were all a lot of gold coins and array diagrams, and nothing else. However, these things weren't bad. Needless to say, the effect of the gold coins was not small, and the array diagrams were also very useful to him. Now that Ji Yu had become an intermediate grade 1 alchemist, learning more array diagrams could improve his strength to another extent. Inferior Grade 2 Offensive Array Diagram Raging Fire Array Inferior Grade 2 Defensive Array Diagram Rock Wall Array Inferior Grade 2 Auxiliary Array Diagram Spirit Movement Array. Although there were not many array diagrams, their grades were not low. According to Ji Yu's understanding, formations could be roughly divided into 4 categories: offensive formations, defensive formations, auxiliary formations, and illusory formations. The 4 major categories were as their names suggested. For example, the offensive formations were powerful formations that could cause damage to the enemy. The defensive formations were to increase one's defensive capabilities. It was very simple to understand. No matter what kind of array it was, the array diagram had to be created first. Now that Ji Yu had several array diagrams in her hands, he wanted to try learning them all. Ding! Master took a look at the 2nd grade lower class offensive formation Blazing Fire formation and triggered 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations Master, you have successfully comprehended the inferior grade 2 offensive formation, the Blazing Fire formation. Ji Yu really wanted to test the power of this formation, but there was no suitable place for him to test it now, so he could only give up for the time being. Then, he looked at the rock wall formation and the spirit movement formation and learned them all in an instant. After learning it, Ji Yu planned on continuing to refine medicinal pills. Because this room was too small, it was not suitable for him to set up any formation. He would find a spacious place in the future and try to set up formations. However, just as he was preparing the pill refining materials, the door was suddenly pushed open. Ji Yu, you're finally back. Chapter 110. Ji Yu didn't even need to raise his head to know that it was Jiang Yushin. How did you know I'm back? Ji Yu asked curiously. He had just returned from the Demon Beast mountain range. However, he quickly reacted. As the 2nd daughter of the City Lord Mansion, Jiang Yushin naturally had many means in Chaoyang Ancient City. It was normal for her to be able to monitor his movements. What's so strange about that? As long as you're in Chaoyang Ancient City, your every move is under this young lady's control. Jiang Yushin said proudly. Don't randomly send people to monitor me. Be careful that I don't beat your little butt. Ji Yu deliberately pretended to threaten her fiercely. He hated the feeling of being monitored. It made him feel very uncomfortable. Liu, hooligan. Hearing Ji Yu's words, Jiang Yushin suddenly blushed and said softly. You said I'm a hooligan? Then I'll say you're a fool. Ji Yu was speechless. You deliberately sent people to monitor me. If you're not a fool, then what are you? This young lady isn't a fool, Jiang Yushan retorted and whispered in a complaining tone. Can't you just stay in the city lord mansion? Why do you have to run around? Let's not talk about this first. Jiyu suddenly thought of something and changed the topic. When do you want to leave for Chenyuan Ancient City? This is up to you to decide. I'm fine with it any time. Sister shouldn't mind too, Jiang Yushan said. Then let's set the time to 5 days to half a month later. We'll decide when the time comes. Jiyu thought for a moment and said. The alchemy conference would begin in 5 days. It would probably end in a day at most. However, he wasn't sure if there would be anything else after the alchemy conference, so he would have to wait until the alchemy conference ended. Okay, then remember to tell us when the time comes, Jiang Yushan said. Jiyu nodded. By the way, Jiyu, I have something to ask you. At this time, Jiang Yushan suddenly became a little unnatural. Jiyu waited for Jiang Yushan to speak. Are you really interested in my sister? Jiang Yushan said embarrassedly. Hearing Jiang Yushan's words, Jiyu suddenly had a strong sense of déjà vu. He remembered that when he first met Jiang Yushan in the Monster Beast mountain range, she had said the same thing, but her expression at that time was very different from now. Do you want to hear the truth or a lie? Jiyu pondered for a moment and asked. I want to hear the truth, Jiang Yushan said seriously. All right, I'll tell you the truth. If I say that I don't have any feelings for your sister, it would definitely be a lie, Jiyu said truthfully. This sentence was indeed the truth, but there was still a difference between having feelings for her and liking her. The reason why he was interested in Jiang Yuchu was purely because Jiang Yuchu was very cute in all aspects, and she was also very good-looking. This was the thinking of a normal man. That was all. If he said that he liked Jiang Yuchu, it would be a bit forced. However, he himself didn't quite understand what it meant to like her. Jiang Yushan seemed to have already mentally prepared herself. She knew that Jiyu would say this, so she didn't have much of an emotional fluctuation. Although her mood was a bit complicated, she quickly calmed down and continued to ask, then, compared to my sister, who do you like more? Hearing Jiang Yushan's words, Jiyu couldn't help but be stunned for a while. Jiyu didn't know what to say for a moment. Before Jiyu could speak, Jiang Yushan added, this time, I still want to hear your true feelings. Chapter 111. Truth. Jiyu couldn't be bothered to continue thinking about it, so she simply said her inner thoughts, I think your share is more. Really? Jiang Yushan's face immediately revealed a happy expression. Of course it's true. Jiyu nodded and said. Jiang Yushan's heart was about to burst with joy. But soon her expression changed, and she turned her head with a red face and said, You. Don't misunderstand. I'm just confirming that you don't have any bad intentions towards my sister. Oh, so that's the case. Jiyu didn't think too much and nodded seriously. Seeing Jiyu like this, Jiang Yushan immediately regretted it. Originally, there was going to be some improvement, but she ruined it. At the same time, Jiyu and Jiang Yushan didn't realize that Jiang Yuchu was secretly hiding outside the door and listening to everything that was happening inside. At this time, Jiang Yuchu was completely speechless. Why did her sister always drop the ball at the crucial moment? Ding. Detected that Master has begun to refine a second-grade pill. The success rate of refining pills has increased by 999 times. At this time, Jiyu had already begun to refine pills. Oh right, you can go back first, I might have to use the next day to refine pills. Jiyu suddenly raised her head and said to Jiang Yushan. Because there were a lot of ingredients this time, it would probably take at least an entire day to refine all of them. Oh. Then I'll bring some food for you later. With that, Jiang Yushan left. Ding. Master has refined a second-grade middle-grade pill. Alchemy attainment gained experience. 300 by 999 times. Ding. Master has refined a second-grade lower-grade pill. Alchemy attainment gained experience. 200 by 999 times. Ding. Congratulations Master, alchemy attainment has successfully broken through to third-grade middle-grade alchemist. After an entire day, Ji-yu finally finished refining all the materials. Right now, I'm just one step away from becoming a superior grade 3 alchemist. When the time comes, I'll refine a 7 profound spirit clearing pill to solve the problem of the mansion mistress. Ji-yu thought to herself as she slowly opened her eyes. Looking at the rising sun outside the window, he realized that it was already the next morning. Because it was very early, the surroundings were quiet. It was precisely because of this that Ji-yu vaguely heard a soft snoring sound. Huff, 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 huff. Ji-yu subconsciously turned to look at her bed. She was surprised to find that Jiang Yushin had unknowingly fallen asleep on the bed, and she didn't even cover herself with a blanket. At this moment, he noticed a wooden basket on the table from the corner of his eye. It seemed to be filled with food. Ji-yu immediately understood something. Immediately, he smiled warmly and walked forward to help cover Jiang Yushin with a blanket. Just as he leaned over to cover Jiang Yushin with a blanket, Jiang Yushin seemed to have had a dream and suddenly reached out to hug him. Ji-yu didn't expect Jiang Yushin to make such a sudden move. Furthermore, he didn't have his guard up against Jiang Yushin at all. As a result, he was directly hugged by Jiang Yushin, lying in Jiang Yushin's embrace. He immediately experienced the feeling of face washing. Unfortunately, it was only slightly better than an airport landing. Not only was it uncomfortable, but it also felt a little painful. It was really uncomfortable. Ji-yu struggled a little, wanting to escape from Jiang Yushin's embrace. However, his struggle woke up Jiang Yushin. Jiang Yushin was still a little confused when she was suddenly woken up. After a while, she realized that Ji-yu was lying on top of her. For a moment, her head felt like it was being bombarded, and all kinds of messy thoughts appeared in her mind. The more she thought about it, the redder her face became. In the end, she completely exploded like a steam engine. When Ji-yu saw that Jiang Yushin had woken up, she already knew what was going to happen. She had already covered her ears and was prepared. Even so, Jiang Yushin's scream was still a little harsh to his ears. Ji-yu covered his ears and helplessly moved away from Jiang Yushin. This time, he didn't do anything. You bastard. Hooligan. Pervert. Jiang Yushin's face was red as she hugged her chest and shouted angrily. Can I say that you suddenly wrapped around me just now? Ji-yu explained helplessly. You pervert, stay away from me. Jiang Yushin didn't listen to his explanation at all. Calm down and think about it. If I really wanted to do something to you, why would I wait until now? Ji-yu said calmly. Jiang Yushin thought carefully and felt that Ji-yu did make sense. However, she was even more unhappy. Then do you think that I'm not charming? Chapter 112. Charm. Ji-yu's eyes involuntarily fixed on Jiang Yushin's chest. Bastard, where are you looking at? Jiang Yushin noticed Ji-yu's gaze and immediately said shyly. Let's not talk about this. I haven't eaten yet. Ji-yu changed the topic. Jiang Yushin easily followed Ji-yu's topic. By the way, I brought you some food, but it's already cold. It doesn't matter. It's fine as long as it's edible. Ji-yu walked to the table and took out the things in the basket. He found that it was some dumpling-like food. It looked fine on the surface. He picked it up and tasted it. Surprisingly, it was quite delicious. Did you make this? Ji-yu asked Jiang Yushin curiously. No, I asked the servant to make this. Jiang Yushin replied. Oh, so that's how it is. Ji-yu thought about it. He was thinking too much. Jiang Yushin and Jiang Yuchu were probably the same. They didn't know anything about cooking. It would be strange if Jiang Yushin could make such delicious food. Do you want to eat the food I made? Jiang Yushin seemed to understand something and immediately asked. Forget it. I was just casually asking. Ji-yu smiled awkwardly. He was already a little scared of Jiang Yuchu. He didn't want to start from the beginning again. I'm so sleepy. At this time, Jiang Yushin gently rubbed her eyes and yawned. It seemed that she hadn't fully woken up. You didn't rest well last night. Why don't you go back and have a good rest? Ji Yu looked at Jiang Yushan and said with concern. Okay, then I'll go back first. You rest well too. I see that you haven't slept since last night. With that, Jiang Yushan left. After Jiang Yushan left, Ji Yu immediately put the pills that he had just made on the table. He was going to use 70% of the pills to increase his cultivation. As for the remaining 30%, he planned to sell them at the Chaoyang branch in the future. This way, he would be able to earn a large amount of gold coins. Then, he began to use the pills to increase his cultivation. Ding! Master has consumed a medium grade 2 medicinal pill. The experience gained for martial arts cultivation is as follows: 7,000 by 999 times. Ding! Master has consumed an inferior second grade medicinal pill. Experience gained from martial cultivation, 5,000 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations Master, martial cultivation successfully broke through to the peak of the 4th level defensive profound realm. After consuming all the pills, Ji Yu managed to increase his cultivation by a small level. However, he felt that he was only half a step away from reaching the 5th level of the defensive profound realm. He planned to try to break through to the 5th level of the defensive profound realm in one go. At this time, he immediately began to cultivate his mystical Kai. After about half an hour, Ji Yu finally broke through to the 5th level of the defensive profound realm. Next, he planned to attempt to concoct a 2nd grade high-quality pill and a 3rd grade pill. These 2nd grade low-grade and 2nd grade mid-grade pills were not very effective for him now. Consuming a lot of them would not increase his cultivation by much. However, before trying to make higher-grade pills, Ji Yu had to earn enough gold coins first. Otherwise, if he could not even afford the ingredients for the pills, then it would be useless no matter how much he said. I'll go to the Chaoyang branch later and sell the rest of the pills. I should be able to get quite a lot of gold coins. Ji Yu muttered to himself in a low voice. Without another word, he immediately set off for the Chaoyang branch. Chapter 113. At this time, Jiang Yushan was on her way back to the City Lord's mansion. There were experts from the City Lord's mansion secretly protecting her, so it was very safe for her to be alone. However, she seemed to be a little uneasy now. She lowered her head slightly and looked at her chest, as if she was still concerned about Ji Yu's gaze just now. Why is it so small? Jiang Yushan looked worried. She used her hand to support her chest and found that it was only a little bit. Suddenly, her eyes moved, as if she thought of something. She quickened her pace and ran back to the City Lord's mansion. After arriving at the City Lord's mansion, she went straight to look for her sister. Soon, Jiang Yushan found Jiang Yuchu and said to Jiang Yuchu, "Sister, stand there and don't move." Although Jiang Yuchu had a puzzled look on his face, he still listened to his younger sister's words. Jiang Yushan walked directly to Jiang Yuechu's back. Her hands were like devil's claws, reaching for Jiang Yuechu's chest without any warning. Yushan, what are you doing?" Suddenly being attacked, Jiang Yuchu couldn't help but cry out softly. Her face was slightly red. However, she didn't resist. After all, it was her sister. Not only that, Jiang Yushan also used her hands to rub it twice. Phew. It's okay. After confirming her sister's size, Jiang Yushan immediately breathed a sigh of relief. Her sister's size wasn't bigger than hers. However, at the same time, Jiang Yushan couldn't help but feel a little sad. Her mother's was obviously so big, so why were her and her sister's so small? Sister, have you ever thought about why our size is different from mother's? Jiang Yushan suddenly asked Jiang Yuchu with a serious face. Why are you suddenly asking this? Jiang Yuchu was puzzled. She couldn't understand why her sister suddenly asked such a question. Moreover, she didn't have much of an opinion on this kind of thing. It didn't matter to her whether it was big or small. Forget it, it's obvious that you don't understand these things. I'll go ask mother. After that, Jiang Yushan ran away. Only Jiang Yuchu was left puzzled. What was wrong with her sister? At this moment, Ji Yu had already arrived at the Chaoyang branch. Today's Chaoyang branch was still the same as yesterday. It was bustling with activity. Since there were only 4 days left before the alchemy conference, more and more people from all over the Kanglan Empire rushed to Chaoyang Ancient City. Some people came to participate in the alchemy conference, but even more people came to join in the fun. As usual, Jiyu wore a black robe to cover his face. Although this style of dressing had become his classic image, there were also many young people who imitated it, so it was not so easy to recognize him. Soon, he walked into the Chaoyang branch and came to the front desk. He remembered that this was the place in charge of appraising and trading treasures. If he wanted to sell pills, he naturally had to come here. "Mister, how can I help you?" The staff at the front desk immediately asked with a smile. "I want to sell some pills." Jiyu didn't try to hide his voice, so he spoke naturally. Once he heard Jiyu's voice, the staff immediately changed the way he addressed him. "Mister, please take out your pills for us to appraise. After that, we will decide on the price." "Okay." Jiyu immediately took out all the pills in his storage ring. Seeing that there were at least a dozen pills in front of him, the staff was shocked. He didn't expect this mister to be able to take out so many pills at once. Moreover, they seemed to be at least second-grade pills. Cough cough. Seeing that the service staff was dumbfounded, Jiyu coughed lightly to remind them. The staff immediately came to his senses and quickly put away the pills. "Mister, please wait for a moment. I'll take them to the treasure appraiser now. The results will be out soon." Chapter 114. Not long after, an old man walked out from inside. The old man first took a look at Jiyu before he began to appraise the pills that Jiyu brought. Suddenly, the sound of a system notification rang out in Jiyu's mind. Ding! Master has watched the appraiser appraise the items. Treasure appraisal attainment gained experience points, 1 by 999 times. However, Jiyu was already used to it, so his emotions did not fluctuate much. Based on his knowledge of the system, if watching an alchemist refining pills could increase his alchemy attainment, it was normal that watching an appraiser appraise the items could increase his treasure appraisal attainment as well. At the same time, the old man seemed to have finished appraising the first pill. His muddy eyes flashed with a hint of surprise. This was actually an inferior second-grade medicinal pill, and its quality was very good. Then, wouldn't the remaining pills be? At the thought of this, the old man could not wait to appraise the remaining pills. Jiyu stood at the side and watched the old man appraise the pills. The system notification rang continuously. Ding! Master has watched the appraiser appraise the items. Treasure appraisal attainment gained experience points, 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master has watched the appraiser appraise the items. Treasure appraisal attainment gained experience points, 1 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Your treasure appraisal attainment has successfully broken through to an inferior first-grade appraiser. Soon, Jiyu became an inferior first-grade appraiser. Just like when he became an inferior grade 1 alchemist, a lot of knowledge about appraising treasures and various basic methods of appraising treasures instantly emerged in his mind. On the other hand, since Jiyu had refined many pills that were repeated, the old man quickly finished appraising all the pills. At this moment, the old man could not describe the shock in his heart. There were a total of 10 to 20 pills, and they were all inferior second-grade or middle-grade second-grade pills. The black-robed man in front of him seemed to be a young man. "May I ask if you're an alchemist?" The old man could not help but ask. "That's right." Jiyu nodded in response. As expected, young master should be an alchemy genius from somewhere else, right? The old man asked with a respectful expression. He asked this because he had never heard of any alchemy genius in Chaoyang Ancient City other than Miss Yu Shuyun who could refine a medium-level 2 elixir pill. Jiyu smiled but didn't say anything. He didn't need to reveal too much to a stranger. After the old man calculated the value of all the pills to Jiyu, Jiyu put away a large pile of gold coins into her storage ring and left. However, Jiyu was not in a hurry to go back. Instead, she wandered around the Chaoyang branch. Just as he was passing by a certain room, he suddenly heard a familiar voice coming from the room. Jiyu thought it sounded like Yu Shuyun's voice. He stopped in front of the door for a moment and glanced into the room. In the next moment, his pupils shrank slightly. Look at what he saw. Yu Shuyun was actually talking to Nangong Morching inside. What the F***ck? Was this AF***king meeting between two ice cubes? P2e, two ice sculptures? At the same time, Nangong Morching was the first to notice that someone was looking in from outside the door. However, she did not turn her head to look. Instead, she asked coldly, "Who are you?" As soon as Nangong Morching spoke, Yu Shuyun subconsciously looked outside the door and greeted, "Jiyu, since you're here, come in too." Since Yu Shuyun said so, Jiyu walked into the room. Nangong Morching heard that it was someone Yu Shuyun knew, so she turned around curiously. Chapter 115. Turning his head to look, Nangong Morching's cold eyes suddenly flashed with an imperceptible surprise. "You're Jiyu?" Nangong Morching subconsciously said. She did not expect that the person who came in would be the black-robed youth from before. "Yes." Jiyu casually replied. "So you two know each other?" Hearing the conversation between the two, Yu Shuyun couldn't help but ask. "Not really, we've only met once or twice," Jiyu said. "Then let me introduce you. This is Nangong Morching from the Nangong family in Bright Moon Ancient City. She is also one of the contestants who came to participate in this alchemy conference." Yu Shuyun introduced to Jiyu. "So, she's also our competitor?" Jiyu thought for a moment and said. "That's right, she's also participating in the duo competition like us, but the person who teamed up with her is not here right now." Yu Shuyun nodded. Nangong Morching listened to the conversation between the two in silence. No one knew what she was thinking. "Then what were you talking about here just now?" Jiyu continued to ask. "I just happened to bump into Miss Nangong and had a simple conversation with her. There was nothing important," Yu Shuyun said. "So that's how it is." Jiyu originally thought that these two ice sculptures were talking about something interesting, but it seemed that she was overthinking. At this moment, Nangong Morching suddenly said coldly, "Wait until the day of the alchemy conference, I'll let you see the difference between you two. You don't have the qualifications to make me see anything." Hearing this, Jiyu did not have the slightest anger on her face. Instead, she smiled. "Then let's wait and see." With that, Nangong Morching stood up and left. At this moment, Jiyu and Yu Shuyun did not see the trace of interest and fanaticism in Nangong Morching's cold eyes. In the room, Yu Shuyun didn't seem to care about what Nangong Morching had just said. She said to Jiyu without changing her expression, "There are still 4 days before the Grand Alchemy Conference begins. You should be mentally prepared, right?" "Yes." Jiyu nodded casually. Now that he had already reached the level of a medium Tier 3 alchemist, why would he need to be mentally prepared to participate in an alchemy conference? He would just crush everyone along the way. If he hadn't agreed with Yu Shuyun to participate in the duo competition, he would have wanted to get first place in the singles competition. Your talent in alchemy is indeed not bad, but you'd better not be too arrogant. Although the experts are all gathered in the individual competition this time, there are still some experts who participated in the duo competition. Yu Shuyun said solemnly, for example, that Murong Morching just now. Our chances of winning against her are not very high. Her impression of Ji was still at the level of an inferior second-grade alchemist, so she had a slight tone of an elder lecturing a junior. "I know." Not wanting to listen to Yu Shuyun's nonsense anymore, Jiyu's expression deliberately became more serious. "Okay, in 4 days, before the alchemy conference starts, come and find me here. At that time, I'll tell you some things about the rules of the alchemy conference." Yu Shuyun said. "I got it. See you then." After saying that, Jiyu waved his hand and left. Then, as usual, he bought a bunch of alchemy materials at the Chaoyang branch before leaving the Chaoyang branch. After returning to his room, Jiyu immediately began to refine pills. This time, he brought back a lot of materials needed to refine superior second-grade and third-grade pills, which meant that he was ready to start refining these higher-grade pills. After spending a full day, Jiyu finally finished refining all the pills. These pills were his first attempt at refining, so he was a little unfamiliar with them and his speed was very slow. Especially for the intermediate third-grade pills, it took him at least 2 hours to refine each one. He didn't bring back a lot of materials, so Jiyu's alchemy skills had not improved to that of a superior third-grade alchemist, but he was not too far away. Chapter 116. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Your martial arts cultivation has successfully broken through to the mid-stage of defensive profound realm level 5. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Your martial arts cultivation has successfully broken through to the late stage of defensive profound realm level 5. Jiyu consumed all the pills one after another. Although there weren't many of them, they were of high quality and allowed his martial arts cultivation to break through 2 small realms. At this moment, he could clearly feel the surge in his strength. With my current cultivation and those mystic skills, it's not difficult for me to challenge a level 6 or 7 defensive profound realm martial artist. Jiyu thought to himself and couldn't help but feel a little excited. It wouldn't be long before he could kill Lin Zhanshan, but it would probably be after he went to the Chenyuan martial house. After all, Lin Zhanshan was a veteran Tongxian realm martial artist. Before Jiyu broke through to the Tongxian realm, he wouldn't have the slightest chance of winning. Then I'll cultivate the Sky Splitter next. Anyway, the Sky Splitter can only cultivate the first stage to perfection. Now, I'm only 1 step away from perfection. Previously, Jiyu had only obtained the cultivation manual for the first layer of the Sky Splitter cultivation method. He didn't know where to obtain the rest of the manuals, so he could only cultivate the first layer to perfection at most. Ding. Master has cultivated the first stage of the King Stage technique, Sky Splitter. Obtained experience points, 10,000 * 999 times. Ding. Master has cultivated the first stage of the King Stage technique, Sky Splitter. Obtained experience points, 10,000 * 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. The first stage of the King Stage technique, Sky Splitter, has successfully broken through to the greater perfection realm. Jiyu continued to cultivate the technique. Once his mystic chi was depleted, he would consume pills to recover mystic chi. After repeating this cycle for a long time, he finally managed to cultivate the Heaven Splitter technique to the perfection stage. If there were no accidents, Jiyu's physique talent should have increased to the 9th grade of the mortal physique, which was the highest level of the mortal physique. Then, he immediately started to cultivate his profound chi. However, not long after, Jiang Yuchu came again. Why do you come here every day? Sensing that Jiang Yuchu had barged into the room, Jiyu said helplessly. No, I didn't come yesterday. Jiang Yuchu said seriously. Jiyu was speechless for a moment. All right, you win. The two of them were silent for a while before Jiang Yuchu spoke first. You should be participating in the alchemy conference in a few days, right? After all, you're also an alchemist. That's right. Jiyu nodded. This kind of small matter was not considered a secret, and there was no need to deliberately hide it. Yes, Yushin and I will be there to cheer for you. Jiang Yushin looked at Jiyu and continued, if I'm bothering you, I'll go back now. You're not bothering me, but I do need to cultivate next. You can see for yourself if you want to stay or go back. Jiyu thought for a moment and said, then I'd better go back first. On the day of the alchemy conference, I'll go to the Chaoyang branch with Yushin to look for you. With that, Jiang Yuchu left. Chapter 117. Ding. Master has cultivated martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience, 10 * 999 times. Ding. Master has cultivated martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience, 10 * 999 times. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Martial arts cultivation has successfully broken through to the peak of defensive profound realm level 5. Ding. Congratulations, Master. Martial arts cultivation has successfully broken through to the peak of defensive profound realm level 5. With his 9th rank mortal physique, Jiyu had broken through 2 small realms in less than a day. He was 1 step away from defensive profound realm level 6. However, Ji Yu did not plan to continue cultivating his celestial Kai. Instead, he planned to find a spacious place to try setting up a formation. Ji Yu set off without another word. There was a barren land outside of Chaoyang ancient city. It was a very suitable place for Ji Yu to try setting up a formation. The first thing he did was to take out the support formation diagram, spirit movement formation, from his storage ring. Because he had already learned this formation before, he subconsciously activated the spirit movement formation. Ding! Master has cast the inferior grade 2 formation, spirit formation attainment, experience gained, 200 by 999 times. In the next moment, a strange pattern formed under Ji Yu's feet. The entire pattern emitted a faint green light. At that moment, he felt his entire body become much lighter. He felt like he was about to float when he took a few steps. To put it simply, this spirit movement formation greatly increased Ji Yu's movement speed, so it was a type of support formation. Of course, the support formation did not only increase one's movement speed. Other than that, there were also various support formations that could strengthen one's strength, continuously restore celestial Kai, and even temporarily increase one's comprehension. Ji Yu had more or less tested out the ability of the spirit movement array. She then put away the spirit movement array. He then took out the defensive formation, rock wall formation. Just like before, he began to cast the rock wall formation. Ding! Master has cast the defensive formation rock wall formation attainment experience gained, 200 by 999 times. In the blink of an eye, a brown barrier appeared within a few meters of Ji Yu. The rock wall formation floated in midair and enveloped Ji Yu like an indestructible rock wall. This kind of defensive formation was fundamentally different from a defensive mystic skill. For example, Ji Yu had the defensive profound skill thick earth armor, but no matter what, she could only use the thick earth armor on herself. However, the defensive formation was different. This rock wall formation covered a radius of a few meters. It could accommodate many people and not just protect him. In comparison, this defensive formation, rock wall formation, had a much wider range of uses, but under normal circumstances, it was still more convenient to use defensive profound skills. After all, the casting time of a defensive formation was relatively long, and only defensive profound skills could be released in an instant, which was more convenient for emergency situations. It could be said that each had its own advantages and disadvantages, but there was no conflict. Chapter 118. However, Ji Yu didn't plan on using the blazing fire formation as an offensive formation. You could tell what kind of formation it was just by looking at its name. Furthermore, the surrounding area was completely desolate, so it wasn't suitable to use this kind of formation. However, Ji Yu suddenly thought that it would definitely be very exciting to use this kind of formation in the Lin family mansion. He couldn't help but feel a little relieved that he didn't use the blazing fire formation here, because these formations were equivalent to one-time use items. For example, the spirit movement array and rock wall array had already been used, so there was no way to use them a second time. After all, if this kind of thing could be used indefinitely, it would be too much of a bug. Now, I'll go back and raise my cultivation level. I'll go to the Lin family mansion and use the blazing fire formation on the day before the alchemy conference. Ji Yu thought to himself as the corners of his mouth curled up slightly. After returning to his room, Ji Yu continued to raise his cultivation level by cultivating his profound Kai Ding. Master has cultivated martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained, 10 by 999 times. Ding! Master has cultivated martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation experience gained, 10 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations, Master. Martial arts cultivation has successfully broken through to the early stage of the 6th level of the defensive profound realm. On the day before the alchemy conference, Ji Yu finally raised his cultivation level to the 6th level of the defensive profound realm. At this time, the sky was already dark, so it was time for him to set off. Ding! Master has used the mystic middle level skill Myriad Flash. Experience gained from the mystic middle level skill Myriad Flash, 300 by 999 times. Using his movement technique, Ji-yu silently arrived at the Lin family mansion. At this time, he was standing outside the walls of the Lin family mansion. A formation scroll appeared in his hand. It was the blazing fire formation. Ding! Master has used the lower second rank formation blazing fire formation. Martial arts cultivation experience gained, 200 by 999 times. The formation scroll directly floated in the air above the Lin family mansion. After casting the blazing fire array, Ji-yu didn't even stay to take a look before she slipped away. In the next moment, he could hear shouts coming from the Lin family mansion. There was no need for Ji-yu to stay behind and watch. This blazing fire formation was only a second-rank formation. At most, it would only cause the Lin family to lose a lot of money. Once the experts of the Lin family arrived, this formation would be quickly dealt with. However, as long as she could make the Lin family suffer, Ji-yu would have achieved her goal. Soon, he returned to the inn and continued to cultivate as he waited for the next day. The next day, the alchemy conference was about to begin. Early in the morning, Ji-yu left for the Chaoyang branch to look for Yu Shuyun. Ding! Master took a step forward. The experience gained from the mystic rank middle level skill Myriad Flash, 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master took a step forward. The experience gained from the mystic rank middle level skill Myriad Flash, 1 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations Master, the mystic rank middle level skill Myriad Flash has successfully broken through to the perfection stage. When she arrived at the Chaoyang branch, Ji-yu's Myriad Flash had also broken through to the next stage. Today, the Chaoyang branch was even more crowded than before. It was so crowded that not even a drop of water could pass through. This was because the Kanglan Empire's annual grand event, the Alchemy Conference, was about to begin here. Ji-yu finally managed to pass through the crowd and enter the Chaoyang branch, heading to the room from last time. When he arrived at the room, he found that Yu Shuyun seemed to have been waiting for him. Chapter 119. I'm here. Ji-yu greeted her. Yu Shuyun looked up and saw Ji-yu. She said, "You came at the right time. I'll tell you the rules of the alchemy conference now." Ji-yu nodded slightly and listened quietly. When the alchemy conference starts later, the single competition will be held first. We won't talk about the rules of the single competition if we don't participate. Yu Shuyun explained in detail. The single competition will end in the morning, and the double competition will start in the afternoon. As the name suggests, the double competition is a competition between two people in each group. The rules are very simple. All groups will start refining pills at the same time. The time limit is 4 hours. If you exceed the time limit, you will fail. Finally, the rankings will be based on the grade, quality, and success rate of the pills. The top 10 will not only be able to study in the main association, but they will also be rewarded handsomely. After listening to Yu Shuyun quietly, Ji-yu realized that the rules of the alchemy conference were much simpler than he thought. "Do you have any questions?" Yu Shuyun asked. "No." Ji-yu shook his head slightly. "All right, then you can watch the alchemy skills of the alchemy geniuses in the morning. You can perform as usual in the afternoon. There's no need to be nervous," Yu Shuyun said. Ji-yu smiled but didn't say anything. It was a joke that he would be nervous. The so-called alchemy conference this time was just for him to casually play around. "Let's go now. The alchemy conference is about to start." As she spoke, Yu Shuyun led the way in front. Ji-yu silently followed behind Yu Shuyun. Her mood was relaxed the entire time. Soon, Ji-yu arrived at an open-air alchemy venue under Yu Shuyun's lead. The entire venue was huge. At this time, thousands of people had already gathered here. They were all watching from all directions. In the middle was a spacious flat ground with a pile of alchemy furnaces. It was obviously prepared for the competition. Other than Ji-yu, no one else had noticed that there was an invisible barrier between the arena and the audience. Not only could this barrier not be touched, it was also impossible to see it with the naked eye. Ji-yu only discovered this barrier because she heard the system notification. Ding! Master has viewed the superior third-grade support formation, sound concealment formation, triggering 999 times comprehension ability. Ding! Congratulations, Master! You have successfully comprehended the superior third-grade support formation, the sound concealment formation. Just like the time when she comprehended Xiao Shozhen, Jiyu instantly understood everything related to the soundproof array. This was a superior third-grade support formation. Its function was to isolate all sounds that came from outside the range of the formation. This sound concealment formation had an extremely effective soundproofing effect. It was capable of isolating almost all of the voices of the spectators. Even a Tongxian realm expert would find it difficult to pass through this formation. However, a Tongxian realm expert would not purposely disturb the competition for no reason. Furthermore, the Alchemy Conference was jointly organized by all of the Alchemy Association branches in the entire Kanglan Empire. No one dared to offend them. Jiyu could not help but sigh. This was indeed a grand event organized by all of the Alchemy Association branches. They were so generous that they even used a superior third-grade support formation to isolate sounds. However, at this time, the sound concealment formation was not fully activated. It would probably only be activated when the competition officially started. Jiyu and Yu Shuyun were both participants, so they directly entered the arena to rest. This was also the best VIP area to watch the competition. Chapter 120. The individual competition will begin in a while. You can watch it first. Yu Shuyun sat beside Jiyu and said. The alchemy geniuses from all over the place were all trying to get close to each other. Only Yu Shuyun and Jiyu didn't talk to anyone and just sat there quietly. Yu Shuyun might have a personality problem, but Jiyu had no interest in talking nonsense with others. Although I may not have the qualifications to say this, but don't you want to get to know those alchemy geniuses? Seeing that Jiyu was still unmoved, Yu Shuyun couldn't help but say, it's always good to get to know more geniuses. Not interested, Jiyu said casually. Hearing this, Yu Shuyun didn't continue this topic. Since the competition hasn't started yet, I'll tell you who our main competitors are this time. First, let's talk about the most powerful enemy this time. You know her too, it's Nangong Morching. She comes from Bright Moon Ancient City, which has an extremely high level of alchemy. Moreover, she's the eldest daughter of the Nangong family. It's said that her alchemy skills have already reached the superior second grade. Not only that, she also mastered the Nangong family's unique skill, which is a superior second grade alchemy hand seal. Therefore, she's our number one competitor. Yu Shuyun said very seriously, but Jiyu didn't care at all. A mere superior second-grade alchemy master couldn't attract his attention. Oh right, have you learned the cyan light seal I gave you last time? At this time, Yu Shuyun suddenly thought of something and asked. I've learned it. Jiyu replied. Very good. Yu Shuyun's eyes immediately revealed a trace of satisfaction and praise. She really didn't misjudge him. He actually learned the superior second-grade alchemy hand seal so quickly. He really deserved the title of genius. One had to know that when she had learned the azure light seal, she had spent no less time than the other party. However, Yu Shuyun definitely couldn't have imagined that Jiyu had learned the cyan light seal just by looking at it. Other than Nangong Morching, there are also the two Zhao brothers from the Bright Moon Ancient City. They are twins, and when refining pills, they have telepathy. Their threat level is not much lower than Nangong Morching. Liu Ling from the ancient city of Brilliant Light is also a top figure. His alchemy skills are not much inferior to Nangong Morching's. Yu Shuyun introduced all the stronger opponents to Jiyu one by one so that Jiyu could be mentally prepared. Although Jiyu wasn't particularly interested, she still listened casually. What made him a little concerned was that when Yu Shuyun mentioned that guy called Liu Ling, there seemed to be a trace of disgust in her tone. From his guess, it should be that Yu Shuyun and that Liu Ling had some unpleasant things in the past. I'll tell you about the opponents that are more threatening to us. As for those alchemy geniuses in the individual competition, we won't meet them, so there's no need to talk about them. Yu Shuyun said. Yu nodded and didn't say anything else. Not long after, the organizer of the alchemy conference, as well as all kinds of so-called alchemy masters, talked nonsense for a while before the alchemy conference officially began. The morning's individual competition immediately began. All the participants participating in the individual competition appeared on the stage. Almost all of them were alchemy geniuses from all over the Kanglan Empire. The surrounding audience immediately cheered. However, at this time, the sound concealment array seemed to have been activated. Yu gradually couldn't hear what was coming from the audience. This was just right. He could fully concentrate on watching the competition. After all, he could improve his own alchemy skills by watching the alchemist refine pills. This time, there were over 100 participants refining pills at the same time. This was a rare opportunity for him to quickly improve his alchemy skills. How could he waste this opportunity? Chapter 121. The rules of the individual competition and the duo competition were basically the same. In terms of time, there was also a time limit of 4 hours. In these 4 hours, almost all the contestants were trying their best to surpass their limits. Among them, there were a few outstanding alchemy geniuses who had already finished refining their elixirs. Yu could see that the young man who was the fastest was also one of the contestants. The elixir he refined was the best among the superior grade 2 elixirs. If there were no surprises, he should be in the top 10 or even the top 3 of the individual competition. Ding! Master has watched an alchemist refine an elixir. Alchemy attainment gained experience points, 1 by 999 times. Ding! Master has watched an alchemist refine an elixir. Alchemy attainment gained experience points, 1 by 999 times. Ding! Congratulations Master, Master has successfully broken through to become a superior grade 3 alchemist. As the alchemy competition came to an end, Yu had also obtained a lot of experience points and successfully broke through to become a superior grade 3 alchemist. After the individual competition ended, the organizer of the alchemy conference began to announce the rankings. At this time, there was no need for Yu to continue staying. She directly said to Yu Shuyun, "There's nothing else to see now. Let's go." Okay. Yu Shuyun also had no intention of continuing to stay here. She stood up and left with Yu. "Where are we going next?" Yu asked. "Coincidentally, I have an elder who wants to meet you. I'll bring you there." Yu Shuyun thought for a moment and said, "Okay." Yu did not think much of it and replied. Soon, Yu followed Yu Shuyun to a hall. Here, there were many big shots with extraordinary auras. They all looked like grandmasters in the alchemy world. "Sage Yu, this is the kid who wants to team up with you." At this time, a middle-aged man with a face full of stubble walked over with a bold tone. Yu Shuyun frowned slightly, but she still nodded at the middle-aged man. Then, she explained to Yu in a low voice, "This is an alchemy grandmaster from some alchemy guild. His character is like this, I hope you don't take it to heart." "I understand." Yu nodded in a low voice. Regardless of whether the middle-aged man's personality was like this or not, he didn't take him seriously. To put it bluntly, he couldn't be bothered to pay attention to him. "You brat, are you really a second-grade alchemist?" At this moment, the middle-aged man looked at Yu with a questioning gaze. Before Yu could say anything, Yu Shuyun couldn't hold it in any longer. "Senior, please have some self-respect." After saying that, she grabbed Yu's wrist and left. "Ha ha ha. Interesting, interesting." In response, the middle-aged man merely smiled. "I made a fool of myself just now." Yu Shuyun's tone was slightly apologetic. "It's all right," Yu said lightly. "I'll take you directly to my father and the others," Yu Shuyun said. Yu nodded slightly and remained silent. He kept feeling that something was wrong, but he didn't know how to describe it. They just turned a corner in the hall and seemed to have arrived at their destination. Yu was led by Yu Shuyun to a middle-aged man with a dignified face and sword-like eyebrows. Obviously, this man with sword-like eyebrows should be Yu Shuyun's father, the current president of the Chaoyang branch, Yu Lingfeng. Chapter 122. I'm Jiyu, nice to meet you, senior. Jiyu said respectfully. Not bad. Yu Lingfeng nodded with satisfaction. I've heard that you're very talented in alchemy. Seeing you today, you're really talented. Senior is too kind. Jiyu said modestly. Let's not talk about this anymore. It's useless to talk about it now. Just perform as usual in the competition this afternoon. Yu Lingfeng said, you and Shuyun should go and rest. It's better to recharge your energy. Junior understands. Jiyu nodded calmly. Jiyu left with Yu Shuyun. However, just as he walked a few steps out of the hall, a sharp voice suddenly rang out from behind him. Yu Shuyun, is the one who teamed up with you this little brat? A young man with a feminine face walked over. His tone was sharp and had a trace of disdain. Liu Ling, what does it have to do with you who I'm teaming up with? Yu Shuyun's tone clearly revealed a trace of displeasure. To be honest, you teamed up with this kind of trash and still want to have the opportunity to go to the main association to further your studies. Aren't you too naive and ridiculous? Liu Ling mocked, if you're willing to leave the Chaoyang branch and join this young master's team, then you'll have hope. At the end of his words, Liu Ling's eyes flashed with a touch of greed. Seeing Liu Ling's unscrupulous eyes, Yu Shuyun couldn't help but feel disgusted. At this time, there were many people around, and almost all of their attention was attracted. Isn't that the #1 alchemy genius of the ancient Radiant City, Liu Ling? And Yu Shuyun is also here. What's going to happen? It is said that Liu Ling has been lusting after Yu Shuyun's beauty since a long time ago. Although Yu Shuyun is the #1 alchemy genius in our Chaoyang ancient city, she is still lacking compared to Liu Ling. That is why this happened. The one in the same team as Yu Shuyun seems to be Jiyu, right? Isn't he a martial arts genius? Why is he participating in the alchemy competition with Yu Shuyun? That's right. That's a little strange. Could it be that Jiyu also dabbled in alchemy? The surrounding people discussed animatedly. Liu Ling's expression became more and more complacent. If I'm trash, then wouldn't you be worse than trash? However, at this moment, Jiyu suddenly spoke up. As soon as these words were spoken, there was an uproar in the surroundings. Damn, did I hear wrongly? That guy actually said that Liu Ling is worse than trash. There's really no one who has the guts. Many alchemy masters in the Chaoyang branch have to respect Liu Ling when they meet him. No one dares to be as arrogant as Liu Ling. Isn't that normal? That guy is Jiyu. Even Chen Yang, who has awakened his acquired spirit body, was defeated by him in 3 punches. But this is a place to compete in alchemy. No matter how strong Jiyu is in martial arts, what does it have to do with alchemy? At the same time, even Yu Shuyun was a little surprised. She didn't expect Jiyu to suddenly say such words. Hearing Jiyu's words, Liu Ling's face immediately darkened. Brat, what did you say? Are you deaf? Do you need me to repeat myself? Jiyu said coldly. You. Just as Liu Ling was about to flare up, a black-robed old man beside him suddenly whispered a few words to him. Then, Liu Ling actually forcefully suppressed himself. He chuckled and said, no wonder you dare to be so presumptuous in front of this young master. It turns out that you're a martial arts genius. However, no matter how strong your martial arts are, it's meaningless in front of this young master. You better understand that this is a place to compete in alchemy. At this moment, Yu Shuyun felt that things were getting worse and worse. She felt that if this continued, it wouldn't be good for her or Jiyu. Just as she was about to softly advise Jiyu not to be rash, she heard Jiyu say with a calm expression, I'll say it again. Even in alchemy, you're still worse than trash. Chapter 123. As soon as Jiyu said this, the crowd burst into an uproar again before they could calm down. Holy sh**t, Jiyu is really King awesome this time. She's planning to fight Liu Ling to the end. She's really awesome. I guess only Jiyu has the guts in the entire Chaoyang ancient city. She's indeed the genius who killed Chen Yang with the acquired spiritual body in 3 punches. I think it would be best if Jiyu could really make Liu Ling suffer. That's right, I think so too. Liu Ling still wants to covet Yu Shuyun's beauty. He's definitely not a good person. At this time, the crowd around them had all kinds of opinions. Good, very good. Liu Ling was so angry that he laughed and said, "Since you keep saying that I'm worse than trash, let's see who's worse than trash this afternoon. I'm happy to accompany you." Ji Yu said indifferently. From the beginning to the end, he didn't take this guy seriously, so naturally, he wouldn't have any mood swings. At the same time, he also got ready to leave. However, Liu Ling was right in front of him. He said coldly, "Get lost." These two words made Liu Ling take 2 steps back involuntarily. After all, strength was the real king. Liu Ling knew very well that his strength was far inferior to Ji Yu's, so he was subconsciously afraid of Ji Yu. Ji Yu is really amazing. You made Liu Ling admit defeat just like that. That's right. After all, Ji Yu's martial arts strength is there. No matter how arrogant Liu Ling is, he wouldn't dare to joke about his life. That's not necessarily true. Didn't you see that there's a follower behind Liu Ling? He's definitely not weak. However, without that follower, I think Liu Ling would be scared witless. Ha 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 ha. Hearing the surrounding voices, Liu Ling's face suddenly became very ugly. However, just as he was about to save some face for himself, he realized that Ji Yu and Yu Shuyun had already left. At this time, Ji Yu and Yu Shuyun were already far away. On the way, Yu Shuyun couldn't help but ask, "You just wanted to argue with Liu Ling? Do you even need to ask? He scolded me, so how could I let him go?" Ji Yu said matter-of-factly. Yu Shuyun was slightly taken aback, then laughed at herself in her heart. Sure enough, he was thinking too much. However, Yu Shuyun's expression didn't change from beginning to end, and her mood quickly returned to normal. She continued to say to Ji Yu, "No matter what, don't let this matter affect your mentality. Your mentality is very important. I won't be affected. Don't worry," Ji Yu said in a calm tone. How could a lowlife who was so arrogant just because he had a little bit of ability affect his state of mind? In the afternoon, he would let Liu Ling know what despair was. It won't be the best. After saying that, Yu Shuyun sighed softly in her heart. Obviously, she was still a little worried. Although Ji Yu's alchemy talent was very high, she had only just reached the level of a second-grade alchemist. Even if she added the second-grade mid-grade alchemy handprint cyan light seal, at best, she could only be comparable to an ordinary second-grade alchemist. As for Liu Ling, although she hated that guy very much, she had to admit that that guy's alchemy attainments were indeed amazing. Not only was he a second-grade superior alchemist, but he also mastered the cyan light seal alchemy handprint. The gap between Ji Yu and Liu Ling was still too big after all. Reality was like this. Chapter 124. After the farce ended, Ji Yu and Yu Shuyun went to eat lunch together. Because of the alchemy conference, the Chaoyang branch specially set up a spacious hall as a dining hall for everyone to eat. Ji Yu and Liu Qinghui casually found an empty seat and sat down. However, not long after he sat down, he suddenly heard 2 familiar voices. Ji Yu. Ji Yu. These 2 voices were almost at the same time. Ji Yu immediately thought of the 2 sisters, Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushan. He subconsciously looked back and found that it was indeed Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushan sitting not far behind him. They seemed to be eating. "You're actually here?" Ji Yu said, slightly surprised. He didn't expect to meet the 2 sisters, Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushan, here. "Why can't we be here? Didn't we say that we would cheer for you today?" Jiang Yushan said with a slightly dissatisfied tone. Then, she continued, "Speaking of which, why didn't I see you this morning? Aren't you going to participate in the alchemy competition?" "I'm going to participate in the 2-on-1 competition. I only had a single competition this morning, so of course you couldn't see me," Ji Yu explained. "I see," Jiang Yushan nodded. Suddenly, her eyes fell on Ji Yu, who was beside Yu Shuyun. "Are you going to participate in the 2-on-1 competition with this woman?" "Yes," Ji Yu casually replied. Yu Shuyun didn't say a word from beginning to end. She didn't seem to care about Jiang Yuexin's hostile gaze at all. Why do you want to participate in the 2-on-1 competition with this woman? Can't you participate in the single competition by yourself? Jiang Yuexin questioned with an alert look in her eyes. Ji Yu didn't know how to explain. Before he could think of what to say, Jiang Yuchu, who was sitting next to Jiang Yuexin, suddenly spoke. She said slowly with a hint of mockery in her tone, "He must have some unspeakable relationship with Miss Yu." An unspeakable relationship? Hearing this, Jiang Yuexin immediately muttered to herself. At this moment, she couldn't help but feel very uncomfortable in her heart. What are you all thinking? I don't have any secret relationship with her. Ji Yu was a little speechless. Really? Jiang Yuexin had a look of disbelief. Believe it or not. At this time, the food was served. Ji Yu continued, "Instead of thinking about these boring things, it's better to eat quickly." No. Jiang Yuexin felt that she couldn't sit like this, so she got up and walked to Ji Yu. "I'll sit with you and eat." Jiang Yuchu also stood up and walked over. Ji Yu didn't say anything about this. After all, this was a 4-person table, so there was no problem with the two sisters sitting together. Yu Shuyun didn't say a word from beginning to end. During the meal, Jiang Yuexin glanced at Yu Shuyun with hostility from time to time. However, Yu Shuyun still didn't move at all and enjoyed her lunch. A few minutes later, the meal was over. Ji Yu, you have to do your best in the afternoon. Although Jiang Yuexin was still a little concerned about what happened between Ji Yu and Yu Shuyun, she couldn't keep pestering Ji Yu about it at this time. Do your best. Jiang Yuchu said softly. Okay, I'll do my best. Ji Yu gave them a reassuring expression. Then, Ji Yu left with Yu Shuyun. When they were far away, Yu Shuyun finally said, "You have to recharge before the competition. Let's go have a rest first." Where are we going to rest? Ji Yu asked. Just come with me. Yu Shuyun didn't answer the question directly. Ji Yu didn't think much about it and continued to follow Yu Shuyun. Not long after, Ji Yu followed Yu Shuyun to the door of a room. At this time, he felt that something was wrong. Why did this room look like a woman's boudoir? Let's go in. Yu Shuyun said as she pushed the door open. Although Ji Yu felt that something was wrong, he still followed Yu Shuyun into the room. Because he didn't think that Yu Shuyun would do anything bad to him at this time, he just had a trace of suspicion. Go to bed and have a rest first. Yu Shuyun said. Hearing that Yu Shuyun's voice was as cold as usual, Ji Yu didn't think much about it. Entering the house, Ji Yu immediately caught a whiff of a faint fragrance in the air. The interior of the house was luxurious yet elegant. Obviously, this should be Yu Shuyun's boudoir. He followed Yu Shuyun's words and walked to the bed and sat down. This was an expensive mahogany bed. When he thought that the owner of this bed was Yu Shuyun, he couldn't help but feel a little strange sitting on it. Then he didn't lie down to rest. Instead, he sat down and closed his eyes to rest. At the same time, he began to cultivate his qi. In fact, this also had the effect of recharging his energy. However, at the same time, what Ji Yu didn't notice was that Yu Shuyun was undressing and undressing. Not long after, Ji Yu suddenly felt that he was pushed down by a pair of cold and soft hands. His whole body fell back on the bed. He suddenly opened his eyes and saw that Yu Shuyun was actually on top of him. His eyes were instantly filled with shock. What the hell is going on? Chapter 125. At this moment, Ji Yu was completely dumbfounded. What was going on? Why did Yu Shuyun suddenly push him onto the bed? At this moment, Yu Shuyun was lying on Ji Yu's body with her clothes disheveled. Her soft breasts were pressed against Ji Yu's chest, and her cleavage could even be seen. However, Ji Yu was so stunned that he couldn't feel anything. If I didn't guess wrongly, you should be hiding your true strength, right? Yu Shuyun raised her head and looked at Ji Yu's shocked eyes expressionlessly. It seemed that she didn't care about her terrible state at all. Being in close contact with Yu Shuyun, Ji Yu could almost feel Yu Shuyun's cool and fragrant breath. However, how could he care about that now? His secret had already been seen through by Yu Shuyun. How did I hide my true strength? I just took the recruitment test a while ago. Right now, his brain was all over. His brain was almost about to stop thinking, so he naturally couldn't think before speaking. I'm not talking about martial arts. I'm talking about your alchemy skills. Yu Shuyun was still staring straight at Ji. Oh, so you're talking about my alchemy skills. At this moment, Ji's brain cleared up a little. He smiled awkwardly and said, I did hide it, but you never asked me before. Yu Shuyun went silent for a moment when she heard this, and then she said, as expected, your natural talent in the Tao of pills has far exceeded my expectations. That. How did you find out that I was hiding my alchemy skills? At the same time, Ji wanted to push Yu Shuyun off him. However, he realized that Yu Shuyun was sticking to him and wasn't willing to get up. He couldn't use force and was worried that he would accidentally hurt Yu Shuyun. From your conversation with the City Lord's Mansion's second miss, she asked you why you didn't participate in the individual competition. Yu Shuyun spoke her inner thoughts without hiding anything. As the second young miss of the City Lord's Manor, it's only right for her to know how intense the competition in the Grand Alchemy Conference's individual competition is. This means that she knows that your alchemy skills are far greater than what I know. Is that all? Ji couldn't help but twitch her mouth. Isn't it a little too hasty to conclude that I've concealed my pill Tao strength just because of this small detail? Sometimes, a little intuition is enough. Yu Shuyun shook her head slightly. Intuition. Ji shook her head slightly and smiled. Forget it, I'll be frank. My pill Tao skills are indeed not low, but you don't have to push me down like this, right? Yu Shuyun's figure was really too good. He felt that he wouldn't be able to hold on for much longer. Don't you like it? Yu Shuyun asked. It's a lie to say that I don't like it. Ji said honestly. However, if this continued, he might not be able to hold back and cook the rice. If he really did that, wouldn't he be torn apart by Yu Shuyun's father? It's good that you like it. Yu Shuyun said seriously, if you want, I can also give my body to you. The only condition is that you have to display your true strength in the upcoming competition. Chapter 126. Hearing Yu Shuyun's words, Ji suddenly fell into silence. He couldn't understand, this guy. What's wrong with him? Just because she wanted him to show his true strength, she was willing to give her precious first time to him, a stranger that she had barely met. You want me to display my true strength because you want to get the opportunity to join the Alchemist Association, right? Ji was silent for a while before he spoke. That's right. Yu Shuyun nodded sincerely. Why are you so eager to get that opportunity? Ji continued to ask. Because that's my dream and pursuit. Yu Shuyun said. Although his tone was cold and flat, it was mixed with a trace of uncontrollable longing and yearning. Looking at Yu Shuyun's incomparably serious and sincere eyes, Ji couldn't see the slightest lie in them. At this moment, he couldn't help but sigh. You don't have to trample on your dream like this. I will definitely let you get that opportunity when the time comes. Ji said. Yu Shuyun couldn't help but be stunned, and his eyes revealed a touch of surprise. Don't you want to get my body? It's not a question of whether I want to get it or not. I'm also a man, of course I like beauty, but I don't want to do that kind of thing to you in this way. Ji chuckled and said, and your first time in life is not a joke. You can't just casually give it to others, no matter what, you have to give it to your other half who will accompany you for the rest of your life. Hearing Ji's words, Yu Shuyun's eyes couldn't help but have a trace of emotion. Her heart also had some subtle changes. She was silent for a while, and then said, I understand, thank you Ji. Finally, Yu Shuyun got up from Ji's body. She then sat on the bed and tidied up her clothes. At the same time, Ji finally breathed a sigh of relief. He felt that if it was a few seconds later, he really wouldn't be able to hold it in. Then Ji also sat up, but the atmosphere in the room was still a bit strange. He simply continued to practice martial arts to get rid of the distracting thoughts in his heart. Ding. Master has practiced martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience. 10 by 999 times. Ding. Master has practiced martial arts for 1 minute. Martial arts cultivation gained experience. 10 by 999 times. At this time, Yu Shuyun had already tidied up her clothes. She looked back at Ji-yu, her eyes couldn't help but be a bit confused. She didn't know why, but she had an inexplicable feeling that this young man in front of her would be her other half in the future. Time quickly passed quickly, the afternoon's 2-on-2 match. When entering the arena, Ji-yu and Yu Shuyun bumped into Liu Ling again. But this time, Liu Ling seemed to be scared. Other than giving Ji-yu a few provocative looks, he didn't say a word. Ji-yu still couldn't be bothered with him. He walked straight into the arena, not even looking at him. But what he didn't notice was that not far away, Nangong Morching was staring at him. There was an extremely rare look of excitement in his cold eyes. Chapter 127. Ji-yu and Yu Shuyun entered the arena together and began to draw lots. Because of their positions, they had to draw lots. Then, they walked to the position they had drawn. The two of them shared an alchemy furnace. This was also the rule of the two-person competition. Two people in a group would work together to refine pills. Next to the alchemy furnace, there were all kinds of alchemy materials. Ji-yu took a quick look at the list. From Tier 3 pills to Tier 1 pills, there were materials to refine almost all of them. What kind of pill are you going to refine? Now that Yu Shuyun already knew that Ji-yu's alchemy level was very high, she first asked for Ji-yu's opinion. Just choose a 3rd grade lower or 3rd grade middle level pill. Ji-yu seemed very casual. Anyway, whether it was 3rd grade lower or 3rd grade middle level, he was almost sure to win. Yu Shuyun was surprised for a moment, then nodded and said, "Okay, then let's refine the soul recovery pill." The soul recovery pill was a 3rd grade lower level pill. Although she was surprised by Ji-yu's strength, she decided to refine the 3rd grade lower level pill, the soul recovery pill, to be on the safe side. Later, you will be the leader, and I will support you. Is that okay? Yu Shuyun asked again. Now she was only a 2nd grade middle level alchemist. At most, she was close to a 2nd grade upper level alchemist. It was a little difficult for her to refine a 3rd grade lower level pill. But if she just supported by the side, it was not a big problem. Okay, you just need to support me according to the situation. Ji-yu nodded and said. Originally, he wanted to tell Yu Shuyun that there was no need at all. He alone was enough. But considering Yu Shuyun's feelings, he did not say it. While Ji-yu and Yu Shuyun were talking, all the contestants around them also found their positions. Then, not long after, the two-person competition officially began. Everyone was racing against time to start the alchemy process. Only Ji-yu was not in a hurry. He didn't seem to be in a hurry at all as he chose the ingredients needed to refine the soul recovery pill. Only then did he begin to refine the pill. Ding! It has been detected that Master has begun to refine the 3rd grade lower class pill soul recovery pill. The success rate of refining pills has increased by 999 times. At the same time, although the venue was isolated from the surrounding noise, the audience was still in high spirits. The double round has finally begun. Why don't we make a guess? Which team will win first place? I think it should be the Nangong family's team. I heard that Miss Nangong Morching has already mastered the Nangong family's secret technique. This time, she'll definitely be able to suppress everyone. I'm more optimistic about Liu Ling's team. After all, Liu Ling is the #1 alchemy genius in the ancient city of brilliant radiance. Speaking of which, what do you think of the fellow who clashed with Liu Ling at noon? What else can we do? I heard that fellow is very strong in martial arts, but in terms of alchemy, he's definitely not as good as Liu Ling. There's no need to even think about it. Many people also nodded. They didn't think highly of Ji-yu at all. At this moment, Ji-yu obviously couldn't hear the voices from the outside world. However, even if he could hear them, he wouldn't care at all. Right now, Ji-yu was concentrating on refining the soul recovery pill. However, with Yu Shuyun's help, his refining speed became even slower. This was because the two of them were too far apart in terms of alchemy and alchemy skills. They were the kind of people who couldn't cooperate at all. If it wasn't for the fact that Ji Yu's alchemy skills had already reached the 3rd grade upper-class alchemist level, he might even fail because of Yu Shuyun's help. However, he didn't have any intention of blaming Yu Shuyun. He just quietly refined the pill. However, right at this moment, Ji Yu's eyes suddenly flashed as if he thought of something. He immediately used the cyan light seal. This way, he should be able to cooperate with Yu Shuyun a little. Chapter 128. Ding. Master used the Level 2 Intermediate Alchemy Hand Seal Cyan Light Seal. Level 2 Intermediate Alchemy Hand Seal Cyan Light Seal. Experience gained, 300 by 999 times. As expected, the cooperation between Ji Yu and Yu Shuyun was much better now. In less than an hour, a soul recovery pill was successfully refined. If Yu Shuyun was not there to help, Ji Yu's refining speed would be much faster. Ding. Master has successfully refined an inferior grade 3 medicinal pill, soul recovery pill. Pill Dao attainment experience gained, 600 by 999 times. At the same time, some people in the audience were puzzled. Hey, that's strange. That's Yu Shuyun's team, right? Why did they stop so quickly? Yu Shuyun. I remember that Yu Shuyun was in the same team as Ji Yu, so it's not strange. Maybe they only refined a level 2 inferior alchemy pill or even a level 1 inferior alchemy pill. It's possible. After all, refining pills is not a joke. It's only been an hour. It's impossible to refine a level 2 intermediate alchemy pill or above so quickly. Ha ha ha, if that's the case, then it's interesting. I think Yu Shuyun is regretting it now. She actually teamed up with a layman. Many people began to laugh at them. However, Jiang Yuchu and Jiang Yushan were standing in the crowd. When they heard the laughter around them, they were very unhappy. Especially Jiang Yushan, she couldn't help but shout, "All of you, shut up. Don't talk bad about Ji Yu." Immediately, many people in the crowd were stunned by this shout. Hey, who's that little girl who was shouting just now? Sure, lower your voice. I heard that she's the second miss of the City Lord's mansion in this ancient city. It's better for outsiders like us not to casually provoke her. This girl's looks are not bad. I didn't expect that other than Yu Shuyun, there would be such a little beauty protecting Ji Yu. Yeah, martial arts is indeed the king. Low alchemy skills don't hinder people from picking up girls. I'm so envious. After Jiang Yueshin's shout, most of the people in the crowd did indeed settle down. Only a small number of people were still pointing fingers at Ji Yu in private, but they didn't dare to say it too loudly. However, at the same time, Ji Yudu had already begun to leisurely watch other people's matches. Ding. Master has watched an alchemist refine a pill, alchemy attainment experience gained, 1 by 999 times. Ding. Master has watched an alchemist refine a pill, alchemy attainment experience gained, 1 by 999 times. Other than Ji Yu and Yu Shuyun, everyone else had not finished refining their pills. Ji Yu watched others refine their pills leisurely, as if victory was already in her hands. This was also because of the rules of the competition. Before the end of the 4 hours of the competition, no contestant was allowed to leave their position. Once the rules were violated, it would be considered a failure. After all, the biggest taboo for an alchemist in the process of refining pills was to be disturbed by external factors. If someone casually walked around during the competition, it would easily disturb the other contestants. Whether it was intentional or not, it could not be tolerated. At the same time, Yu Shuyun glanced at Ji Yu beside her with a complicated expression. Just now, she had vaguely realized that she seemed to be a burden to him. Not only did she not help Ji Yu, she even dragged Ji Yu down. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,